What is happening, everybody? Welcome to another episode of OG55 Live. I am joined by the one, the only, the Italiano, host of our Walt Disney World show here on the channel, Citrus Corner. We're taking all your questions. We have actually a lot of questions already, George. We got a lot of questions. We love to see it. We absolutely love to see it. But before we dive into the festivities, George, if you could let everybody home know where they can find you on social media, sir.
Absolutely. You can find me on X, formerly known as Twitter, at Disney George. You could also find me on Instagram under the Disney Italiano. And of course, you'll find me here on my home base at Orange Grove 55 with Citrus Corner with all that sweet, juicy, but sometimes sticky Disney news and info.
Yes, sir. Mr. Sticky Icky in the house. Let's go. Okay, so before we take your questions, there's actually some news that dropped today that we're going to discuss a little bit. We're going to touch upon it. We'll probably do a video in more detail on another day, but we thought we'd touch upon it today a little bit. So this was actually, let me see here. Okay, so this is actually in regards to the Avatar, thing at land coming to Disneyland Resort. Okay, so at that Morgan Stanley event, we did a video on it. Iger said a land is coming to Disneyland Resort. It was heavily implied it's going to go into DCA, right? Well, this is from Scott Gooston. He's saying here, in a new In Case You Missed It post on its website, Disney recapped Iger's comments earlier this week at the Morgan Stanley conference and included a mention of, quote, plans to develop an Avatar experience at Disneyland in California. Okay, so here's the interesting thing about this. A couple of things. Number one, everyone was thinking it's going to go into DCA. When we did our video, it was really implied it was going into DCA. We had Chris Beatty at IAPA. He had a backpedal, but he accidentally said, "Hey, it's going into DCA." Right now, the wording in this makes it sound like it's going into Disneyland Park. Because if you see here, it says Iger referenced the excitement about plans to develop an Avatar experience at Disneyland in California and acknowledged the prospect of other properties where the franchise might also be successful, noting the popularity of Pandora, World of Avatar at Disney World. Iger said that if you build it right, build it with excellence, guests will come. So the Disneyland with no resort, that's interesting. Okay, that's more Disneyland Park focused. Now, a lot of fans are zeroing in once again on experience. Okay, here's my theory on that, and then I'll go to you, George. You might disagree with me on this, and that's cool. But like Iger, I don't think Iger meant to officially announce that Avatar is getting its own land at Disneyland Resort. I don't think that was meant to happen. I think that was, in my opinion, I think that was he leaked it, okay, before they were officially ready to drop that announcement, okay? So he leaked it. Now, when would they get the official press releases and all that stuff, they have to toe the experience line still because it technically hasn't been officially announced. Iger slipped. Now, Iger has done this many times. I said many times in the past, I'm a huge fan of Christian Harloff. And what they used to do over there, like, well, I'm still a huge fan of Christian Harloff, but when he had the show over on Collider, the Jedi Council show, they would always joke around about how Iger would like slip and like announce things inadvertently at a lot of these like earnings calls and stuff, and they would call it IgerCon because it was like it happened so consistently with like Star Wars news, movie news, studio news, even park stuff. Iger has a kind of a history of doing this. I think he slipped. I think he knows what it is. He's the CEO of the company. Okay. You can't get much higher than him at Disney. I think he knows it's a land and he slipped without really thinking, and they weren't ready to announce it. So they're not going to call it a land in the press releases because it hasn't been officially announced yet. I think fans are making much ado about nothing over this, but again, we're back to analyzing experience, which is super annoying. But what do you think, George?
I see here's the, like, everything is like so kind of like mismangled with this, and I kind of think in a way maybe this is Disney's plan all along to kind of go along with this, where it kind of like leaves us in the dark, so to speak, where it's like they're kind of throwing some hints, but then they're kind of retracting it. They're throwing, especially with this Avatar, I feel like that this is going to be something much grander than what even a lot of people are suspecting, that it's just going to be another duplicate from Animal Kingdom. Because if you really think about this, even from the beginning, Iger teased this during a quarterly earnings call.
The first call, by the way, that he had when he returned back to the company, which is a significant call for him, you know?
Exactly. Then we kind of got a little tease with the actors from Avatar: The Way of Water, the young kid actors, that they did an interview where they were kind of like throwing out there saying, "Oh, this is going to be a great, you know." I believe, don't quote me, I don't know if they used the term land. I think they used the term land, or they said Disneyland. No, they didn't say land. They said Disneyland, and then they had to go back and reword it so it would say Disneyland, and then in brackets resort.
Right.
So because they didn't really want it, and then Chris Beatty leaking at IAPA that it's going into DCA. Now this again with Iger. So it seems like it's all coming back to this Avatar project, that it seems like they're giving a little bit of information, then retracting it back. So sometimes, Disney just may want to kind of have us playing that guessing game until they're ready to make that full announcement, because they kind of did that with the new Fantasyland. When they made that announcement back at the very first D23 Expo in 2009. And we also have to take in consideration, too, any plans can be changed at the top of a hat at Disney. In the original concept for New Fantasyland, there was going to be meet and greets for Cinderella at her friend's chateau, and then Sleeping Beauty, Aurora, in the cottage in the woods. And they ended up scrapping those concepts, and that area became what is now Seven Dwarfs Mine Train.
Well, and that was thanks to Tom Staggs, because he was like, "What are my kids?" I think he has young boys. What are my kids going to do? And that's how we got the Mine Train and things like that. But I think there is also an element here, to be fair, of Disney not being. I think Disney, because look, I think when it comes to Avatar in California, I think a lot of this also hinges on Disneyland Forward. You know, so there is a little bit of that uncertainty. They haven't voted yet on that. You know what I'm saying? So I think that, to be fair to Disney, I think that you're not going to maybe officially go all in on the announcement quite yet until you have that land secured, right? But Iger slipping and saying land tells you where their mindset is. It's going to be land. You also have to understand, too, that Iger spent $70 billion, $50 billion after they sold the sports assets of Fox, right? They spent a lot of money on Fox, and it's arguably the weakest of his acquisitions. Optically, a lot of people feel that was the biggest mistake he made with the acquisitions. He's going to want to justify that $50 billion investment. How do you do that? You invest hugely in your parks using Fox properties. He's telling you at the Morgan Stanley conference that Disneyland, he said, is getting a land, or Disneyland Resort is getting a land, and they're eyeballing other parks internationally. I'm telling you guys, this is going to be a land, and these content creators who are sitting there saying, "There's no way." Fine, you can own that. If you want to own that and hitch your horse to that wagon, all good. I'm telling you, this is going to be a land. It's absolutely going to be a land. It's not going to be an exhibit. I'm telling you.
And it keeps on making me go back to the fact that James Cameron is tied to this project. Well, he's not going to want anything. The producer to the movies was at WDI. He was John Landau. Right. Yeah. It's like, these are people. I mean, this is Cameron's baby. You know, if he has done anything to these films less than spectacular, he's not going to want a half-assed attraction or walk-through exhibit for an experience. He's just not going to. He's not going to put up with that. Yeah. He will not sign off on that. I guarantee you. It's
going to be a land. I'm certain of it. And he slipped. Iger is known to do this, George. I'm telling you. And I used to watch I still watch Christian Harloff, but when I watched the Jedi Council show, they would joke about it. How much Iger would leak stuff about movies and Star Wars and all that stuff at these quarterly earnings calls. It's his MO. He does it all the time. Whether maybe it's like low-key intentional, or maybe he just doesn't realize. I don't know. That's up for debate. But he's done this before.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's looking like it, but maybe we'll touch upon the topic again in another video. But we thought we'd kind of bring it up a little bit before we start taking questions.
Absolutely. And really quick before we get on to the questions, just a couple things because I'm going through the chat right now. I just have to give a shout out to the new member of the OG55 family, Kaylee. She did put in the chat that she has gotten a new kitty cat today. His name is Cheeto, an orange tabby. Yeah. So I actually did get to see a picture of him. He's very cute, and
cool.
yeah. So definitely shout out to the new family member of OG55.
Yeah.
And then Googamp. I saw your message when you noticed. I was actually very impressed that you noticed it was Bedknobs and Broomsticks even before the movie started. So that was very impressive.
That's good. That's really good, actually. That's good. So we'll start off. We'll get the party started, George. So Trip Johnson. Trip, it's always good to see you, buddy.
Trip.
Always good to see Trip. He has two questions actually for us. Okay, first one. Do you think they'll put a Shogun-themed exhibit at the Japan Pavilion? I'm assuming in Epcot. Okay, so Shogun is a new show on Hulu. Okay, it's getting phenomenal reviews. It's based.
I think what was it? 9 million views for the first episode.
Something like that. Yeah, it's doing really banger numbers. It's getting a lot of people love this show. I haven't seen it though. That's the thing. So I mean, it's based in Japan. The show, right? I guess in theory, Trip, it could do a little exhibit over there in the Japan Pavilion. I just don't know how. I mean, for those of you that have seen the show, is it kind of gory and violent? Because I don't know if Disney would necessarily want that at Epcot. If it's not, then maybe they will. But what do you think, George?
I want an entire Tokyo Disneyland in the Japan Pavilion.
Yeah, let's do that. Exactly.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's definitely getting high praise with critics and viewers. I'm actually curious about it. I really want to watch it myself. I just don't know the type of show that it is, that if it would fit into a theme park. And I think there are certain things that would fit in a park and things that do. I personally don't think this is one of them. This is something I think with the Japan Pavilion, and I know Disney's probably going to want to push as much IP as they possibly can wherever they can get it. But I kind of enjoy the Japan Pavilion just as the Japan Pavilion itself without the IP.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't necessarily mind like if they have like a little section there to kind of like cross promote, the synergy or whatever. But I don't think I wouldn't want like necessarily like an attraction on this, like on a Hulu show. But if it's like a temporary little thing where they're selling merch and kind of promoting the show, maybe. But the only thing though is that I just don't know like how adult this show is. I haven't seen it. And if it's super adult with like sex scenes and like freaking like crazy violence, then maybe you don't cross promote. So I kind of have to see it before I can even really answer that.
Well, then in that case, I might change my
yeah, there you go. Exactly. And then Trip Johnson continues here with number 2. What's a worse forum? Mice Chat, WW Magic, or Disboard? First of all, I've met Dusty from Mice Chat.
I have too. He's a nice cool cat. He's a cool cat. He's
a really, really nice guy. But I got to be honest, Trip, I don't go in any of these forums. I haven't been on a forum like this in honestly like 15 years or so. Like I don't frequent those forums, but I think in terms of if you want to talk about like if you want to talk about like Disney, what's the word for it? Like spaces, so to speak. I think a real problem, not just for Disney even, but just for, I think, entertainment in general right now, is this kind of grifting, like anti-Disney stuff that you see like on various like YouTube stuff and all that. I think that's a bigger problem for the community, I think. And not because they're negative, but I think the monetization is it kind of fosters an almost like a dishonesty, because you're kind of chasing the dollar. You're not really getting to the truth or what's really happening. You're sort of chasing the AdSense, and it's all over these platforms and stuff. And because it's so heavily monetized, I think that's a detriment to the community and the fandom way more than any of these forums at this point.
Yeah, you kind of look at these like the thumbnails or the article titles, and they're very misleading, where you could end up reading something or watching something that you may think is because of like basically clickbait of what you think you're going to be watching or reading, and it's something that's completely the total opposite of what you're suspecting it's going to be.
And to be, I want to make it very clear, it's totally fine to be critical of Disney. We do it all the time, you know, with like Daddy Josh, you know, all this stuff. It's okay to be critical. What I'm talking about is this kind of like this tabloid journalism and stuff, where it's like this kind of like outrage farming. That's what I think is detrimental to the fandom and stuff like that. Yeah. So yeah, but great question, Trip. Unfortunately, I don't really go on the Disney forums. It's been a long time. Yeah. Back in the day, I did though, like long time ago, but not really anymore.
That AOL dial-up.
Yeah, right. Exactly. You're revealing my age, George. You're revealing my age.
I'm not too far behind yet. Like I'm pretty close, but I also remember like that you got mail. You know, like you get like those notifications and all that. Oh man, you hear that brrr type of thing, like where it's like being. Oh man.
It's wild. Matthew Murr, friend of the channel, all the way from the UK. Question number 1: do you think Temuera Morrison is likely to reprise his role as Chief Twee in the second Moana film? In my opinion, he should, because he played a bigger role than Cena as an overprotective father. What do you think, George?
I think honestly, if you're going to create a sequel, unless something happens where unfortunately the original voice actor possibly like passed away, in the case like with Jim Varney, who did the voice of Slinky Dog in the first 2 Toy Story movies, and I believe they got Blake Nelson to play Slinky Dog, then I could see it. But yeah, if you have the intention of creating a sequel, especially something that is highly anticipated based on the views of the teaser trailer, such as for Moana 2, I say bring all the original cast back. And that's including, I believe, Nicole Scherzinger, who does the voice of Moana's mother.
Nice. Yeah, I absolutely bring them back. Why not? I hope Moana 2 is really good. We'll see. You know what I'm saying? We'll see. It was a show. It was a series, and now they're turning it into a movie, which I think is a smart move. But hopefully they can make that change, that transition, and make it seamless, and make we get a really good movie on the other end of that. You know. Matthew Moore here says, question exclusively for George. This is a Matthew Moore question for George and George only. Were you ever aware that Fraggle Rock was tailored specifically to international markets? Every country was given the option to create their own Doc and Sprocket segments. In France, he was a chef. In Germany, he was an inventor. But in the UK, Doc was changed to the captain, a retired sailor living in the lighthouse. Did you know that, George?
I actually did. And Matthew, thank you for the question. That was a phenomenal question.
Really good question.
I love Fraggle Rock. That takes me so back to my childhood. And yes, I did know, because I did watch I think it was a YouTube documentary on the making of Fraggle Rock, and different segments of how Doc and Sprocket were represented based off of which country you were watching Fraggle Rock. And I think that was, I think, very genius on the Jim Henson Company at that time, because it then allowed for, you know, if something that was going on with the show that may have not been within the culture of a particular country, it could be somewhat relatable, you know, right, based off of these characters that, you know, you were watching, you know, every day. And for me, but again, Matthew, phenomenal question. But yes, I did know that. As I said, I love Fraggle Rock, and you know what, Matthew, you brought it up, so I have to. So I just got to give the little jingle. What the hell? So it's like, dance your cares away, worries for another day. Let the music play down on Fraggle Rock.
Boom, boom. That was amazing, George. Absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. Yeah, Fraggle Rock was a great show, and now they got a new show, a new version of it on Apple, which one of my favorite K-pop groups, aespa, is actually doing a song for the new Fraggle Rock. That's coming out, I think, on more. I think
only you would know that.
and maybe knows that too. And in the chat, maybe definitely knows that.
That is true.
But I think that drops on March 29th. So,
ooh, that's interesting.
Hype. Okay, so Googam32 with Rooster Teeth shutting down because Zaslav's gonna Zaslav. Do you think Disney should buy RWBY and Camp? Okay, so Googamp, full disclosure, I have no idea what Rooster Teeth is. I have no idea. I've seen it all over Twitter. Zaslav is shutting it down. It doesn't surprise me. Zaslav, I don't know, man. I was really bullish on David Zaslav actually going into this, and he's kind of turned out to be a dud, in my opinion. You know, I really have a love affair with the Warner Brothers animation. And I made it, no bones about it, so many times. Like the characters are amazing, you know, Animaniacs, all that stuff. And I just feel like Zaslav doesn't really care about that. I think he's focusing mostly on like television, like with like reality TV. He's real big on the DC stuff. I think he's done good with DC. I think bringing James Gunn in and all that was fantastic. But for animation, which I love that element of Warner Brothers, I think he's just been like dog shit. Okay, I mean, I think he's been terrible. So I haven't been impressed. He's probably gonna flip the company and sell it off to somebody, probably Comcast or somebody else. Who knows? Probably sell it off in pieces. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know what Rooster Teeth is, but you know, it doesn't surprise me they're shutting it down. But what do you think, George? Do you have any knowledge about what this is, Rooster Teeth?
Actually, this is the one that I'm completely stumped. I have no idea what it is.
No.
So sorry, Googamp. I wish I could give you. Sorry, that's my mom's dog outside my door. I have no idea what Rooster Teeth is. RWBY and Camp. I have no freaking idea.
I have no idea. We're probably too old to know this stuff, George.
Yeah.
You know, most likely. Matthew Murr, all the way from the UK. Do you think the voice actors who weren't granted solo lines in the rendition of When You Wish Upon a Star in Once Upon a Studio, such as Jennifer Hale as Cinderella and Kelly Marie Tran as Ryu, were required to sing the final line of the song? I'm inclined to think they were, but it's unclear whether or not that's truly the case. What does he mean by that? Were required?
Go back to the first part.
He says here.
Do you think the voice were granted? Who weren't granted solo lines?
Yeah, so we're required to sing the final line of the song. Does he mean like as a constellation prize? Like, okay, you didn't have your own like solo lines, so now we're going to give you like the group sing along. Is that what he means by that? I'm not really sure what you're asking, Matthew. If you want to clarify in the chat, please do, sir. Googamp 32. Speaking of Zaslav, do you see Max shutting down in the near future? And if so, do you see Warner Brothers licensing their content to Disney Plus like how Sony is doing? Actually, from what I understand, I think Max is like one of the only streamers right now actually making a profit. I think at this point, I think they finally broke profitability. So no, I don't think it's going to shut down anytime soon, especially when you got shows in the pipeline like House of Dragon. You know, our buddy Tones knows all about that. You know what I'm saying? But House of Dragon and stuff. Max actually, they have some pretty good. They have, and even I think it was what was that other one? Succession. So yeah, they got some good shows on that, and I think Max is gonna be fine. I don't think that's gonna shut down at all.
And and for me, I don't. I mean, I could be completely wrong, but I don't know. I don't see Warner Brothers licensing out to Disney.
Really? Why is that? Yeah. Why do you think that?
I don't know. Like, I feel like that they would want to kind of go in a different kind of direction, and I just don't. I feel like there would be a lot of butting heads with Warner Brothers and Disney. I don't know why.
That's interesting. Next question is from Googamp. Why are Disney TV character appearances such a rarity in the parks compared to Disney movie characters?
Awesome question, by the way, Googamp. Awesome question.
And I've noticed that. I think that Disney, when it comes to TV shows, they probably see them a little less Well, I don't know. I mean, maybe they see them as a little bit more here and now, and so they're a little bit more of a today thing. They don't see that as timeless, right? So there's less desire for on Disney's end to like pump them into the parks, which the parks are more long term. You put something in the parks like a ride or attraction or a show, these are long term things. Maybe they get a little skeptical with shows because what's popular today for a show might not be popular years to come. But here is the caveat to that. The Disney afternoon shows have proven to be wildly successful decades and decades later. So it's like at this point, why don't we have a ride based on DuckTales? You know what I'm saying? Because that franchise is a show, but has proven itself for what 30 plus years now or more. Mm-hmm. You know, so I'm not really sure, Googamp. I really don't know. I'm just guessing because they see TV as a little bit more like here and now and not long term in terms of popularity. You know what I'm saying?
And I think too that Disney is kind of utilizing this to their advantage because they have these specialty rarity meet and greets during these special After Dark events, such as they just had at Disneyland Disney Channel night, where they had Lilo and Stitch meet also with the other experiments, Stitch's cousins. And they had Darkwing Duck, they had Launchpad McQuack, I believe, Huey, Dewey, and Louie with Scrooge McDuck. So I think, and then they also did this with 90s Night, which I can't believe I missed that. I could kick myself every time I bring that up. But I think Disney utilizes that notion because if you're going to sell an extra ticket for a hard ticket event, then you're going to have something to kind of offset that price. So if you have these characters walking around all the time, but then you're going to utilize them for a special up ticket charge, is it going to get your money's worth? So in a way, I part of me is saying I do wish that they would be around, especially like in Toontown, like you could have them as meet and greets, but then also too, it's also to the notion of, you know, sometimes you just, you know, have that rarity look. It's like, oh my gosh, there's Darkwing Duck, and it's like, oh my gosh, there's Huey, Dewey, and Louie. You know, you get that extra feeling for like those hard ticket events. That's, I think, what Disney is looking at.
Yeah. No, that's a good point. It's a great point, actually. Googam32 here says, would you say that both Peltz and Blackwells have shot both themselves and each other? Wow, it's a lot of shooting. In the foot enough that Iger will easily win the vote. Yeah, and here's the thing. I made it very, very clear. I'm not against pushback against Bob Iger. You know what I'm saying? I'm not against pushback by Bob Iger. What I am against are people that I don't feel are equipped to properly be on that board. And I think Peltz, I'm sorry, it hasn't impressed me. I didn't like Rizzullo when he was running the parks back in, 15 years ago or whatever. I didn't like him then. He homogenized the Disney parks. All this one Disney stuff that, like, before you'd go to the parks and you would have like, park specific like napkins and things like that. Rizzullo was integral in getting all that stuff homogenized, where it was just Disney parks. All these Disney parks bags that you have now that are, when before you would get like Disneyland, that's park specific bags. That's a lot of that is because of Jay Rizzullo. Okay, I didn't like him during that era. Okay, I certainly did not like Perlmutter at Marvel. I thought he was a mess with that. Okay, so he's surrounding himself with people I'm not really into. Then the voting starts, and he doesn't even give us his plan until like 2 days ago. And it's like the voting has been going on, bro, for like a while now. And now you drop your plan. Now there's, I saw Matt Bellani's article. He was talking about how the Peltz plan was plagiarized, even down to the graphics. And we'll get into a show with that with Seymour. It's just been a total shit show with Peltz. And again,
and they're not even in the company. Like, look at the shit show. They don't even have seats on the board. It's like, I don't even want to know what could the potential of happening. And I think this is where fans are like kind of blindsided by that notion because they're so in a hurry for a knee-jerk reaction to get rid of Iger. Iger has to go right away. But yes, okay, I get it. There's stuff that we, even OG and I, don't agree with Bob Iger. We get that. Do we
There's
feel
a lot
like
of stuff we don't
do
agree
we
with.
feel like, you know, his time is up in 2026? Absolutely. But is it the best interest of the company to have him removed immediately and just shoehorn these other activists into the company when we don't even know really what their full intention is? And I'm sorry, I don't mean to get political, but guess what? I'm going to get political. It's like a lot of these government people that when they're going to, you know, when they're running, you know, and it's like, oh, I'm a candidate, they're going to throw everything that you want to hear while so they can get the vote. Then once they're in office, they don't do shit. They backpedal. So
Right.
who's even really to say that a lot of these activist investors don't do that? Yeah, they're saying this and that. Oh, we'll do this, we'll do that. Once they get a seat on the board, do you really think they're going to give two shits? I personally don't feel like Peltz or Blackwell's has that mentality. I'm sorry, they don't.
Yeah, no, exactly. And then in that Q&A thing, they were going on and on about the pricing of like the balloons or whatever. And it's like, okay. And then they were bragging about how cheap the competition is. Now, I was just at Universal and I paid $20 for a fucking draft beer. Okay. And the Super Mario boba drinks are $14. Peltz, I'm sorry. Please, you don't know what you're talking about in terms of this stuff, okay? It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous.
$20 for a draft beer. I hope you were able to piss liquid gold after that.
No, actually, I was with Theme Park Wizard and our buddy Michael Ebba, and I spilt the whole thing in my lap. So there you go. No, I'm not even kidding. I actually did.
Oh, God.
I took 2 sips and it landed in my lap. Oh, dang it. Okay. Oh, well. But we had a great time, though, actually. And Universal's a great park. We actually are going to do a trip report with Theme Park Wizard and Ebba and yourself, George.
Yes.
We're going to do a trip report very soon to talk about it because I give Universal very, very high marks, especially their team members. But when Peltz gets up there and says, "Well, Disney's the pricey, greedy entity over here," and I just went to Universal, and the prices were no better, and in some cases they were even worse. Cliffix, friend of the channel, Cliffix, thank you so much, brother. Thank you so much for the $5 super chat. He's asking, are Peltz and Rossullo selfish raiders, or do you think they are true lovers of the company and want to get better for the fans and investors? See, here's the thing, Cliffix, and this is probably going to be an unpopular opinion with a lot of the Peltz fans. I think he's more on the Raider side. I think he's on the Raider side. I think Rossullo is on the sour grape side. Rossullo got passed over for CEO. He wanted that job. He didn't get it. So he's, disgruntled ex-employee.
Yeah.
Same with Perlmutter and, but I don't think they're in this because they truly love the Walt Disney Company, in my opinion. And this is subjective, Cliffix. You know what I'm saying? Like there are people out there that are huge fans of these guys. I see it all on Twitter all day long, and that's fine. And if you think that these guys are in it for the love of the Walt Disney Company and Walt Disney's legacy, that's great. I personally don't. 9 grandkids, and I know Abigail. She's kind of, you know what I'm saying? I don't like Abigail either, but it's not just Abigail. There were 9 grandkids of the family that spoke out and said these guys aren't right for the company, excluding Abigail. Just forget Abigail. The rest of them are still saying the same thing. I don't see it, in my opinion. I could be wrong, but that's just my opinion. What do you think, George?
And I actually, I got to actually meet one of the grandkids during a D23 event. Destination D back in 2012, I believe. They held it at the Disneyland Hotel. And it was Roy O. Disney's grandson. He was there for one of the presentations, and I have to say he was very proud to be part of the Disney legacy of what his father had achieved, his grandfather achieved, his great uncle, so he was very vocal with that. Yeah. And that was just him, along with, let's exclude Abigail out of the picture. Let's just say the 8. Let's just say the 8. So him along with the other 7, obviously that's very telling. It's very telling.
It's telling, dude. It's telling.
And honestly, I have to say, Pelt. Yeah, I do agree with you, OG. I think Pelt and Rizzullo want seats on the board for different reasons, so they're just kind of utilizing each other to kind of get what they want. But at the end of the day, I just feel like that they're wolves in sheep's clothing.
I completely agree. And you can be very critical of the Walt Disney Company and want what's best. Like, you know, for example, there's a former Imagineer, Eddie Soto. I love Eddie Soto. I follow him on Twitter. He's very critical of Disney. You know what I'm saying? But there's no denying this man loves Disney. He loves Disney. He's critical because he loves it so much. And you can see that. So when he criticizes something Disney does or a creative decision or whatever, I never in my mind go, oh, this guy is out for himself or this, that, or the other. No way. This guy loves his company. You know, he blood, sweat, and tears. He works for Imagineering. You know, there's people that you just know when you see them and when they talk about this company, you know they care about it, even if they're super hypercritical. Pelton Rizzullo, I don't see it, dude. I just don't. I feel like they are on the Raiders side of this equation, unfortunately, and it breaks my heart that we have to deal with this because this is like an amazing company with an amazing legacy, and we have all these corporate raiders kind of circling. And again, that is in large part also Iger's fault. You know, he kind of got us in this position. I'm not going to give Iger a pass on this. You know, he did. He set a lot of bad stuff up. You know, even a lot of the stuff Iger set up also screwed over Bob Chapek. You know what I'm saying? So Iger is not absolved from blame here by any means, but Peltz and Rizzullo ain't the guys, though. I'll tell you that much, in my opinion. And I don't think they have a chance. I really don't. I think come next month, they're not gonna get those board seats. Yeah. But we're gonna do a video in a few days with the one and only Mr. Seymour Duck, and we're gonna deep dive into this stuff because it's amazing. I mean, there's a lot going on here.
He has the receipts.
Yeah, no, Seymour is awesome. We love Seymour. Googam32, could and should Disney add new countries to the interior of the World Showcase loop? George, should they add a South Korea pavilion? Yes or no? No, in all seriousness, what would you do? I mean, would you do this?
Yeah, I don't. Right on brand, OG. Yeah, honestly, I'm sorry. They definitely have a lot more room that they could add more countries, more pavilions to the World Showcase Lagoon area. We've talked about it several times. There were talks that there was going to be a Brazilian area. There was going to be a Spain area, and that was going to tie into the animated film Gigantic, which Disney, come on. You know, you want to do something new and fresh. Revive Gigantic. I would love to see their take on Jack and the Beanstalk. I would love to see that.
I mean, we got a little bit of it with Mickey and the Beanstalk, but let's do those package films were nice. They were nice, but let's get like a kind of the more classic sort of traditional kind of fairy tale animated film. I would love that. I would absolutely love that.
But yeah, they definitely have the room for it, and I would just love to see different countries because I love walking around World Showcase. I mean, it's so phenomenal, especially
But I just want to say though, if any of you at home are ever at Epcot, okay, and George and I are there, and we're in Italy, I'm just going to warn you, it's going to be very difficult to find two Italians in Italy. We blend in, you know what I'm saying?
We're like chameleons.
Exactly. No, but I'm sorry to interrupt you.
No, you're good. And of course, I do love drinking around the world. You know, I love starting the walk in the Mexico Pavilion and then staggering out in Canada. So it's
exactly. No, we had a good time. Yeah, we had a really good time. We had. Well, I actually still got my German mug over by Grogu.
Yes, nice.
You know, and we ate at the Japanese pavilion, and it's great. Epcot's amazing. I love that World Showcase,
especially
area.
When you walk like further back into the pavilions. It gives you that sense of how New Orleans Square is at Disneyland,
very much,
because it's like it cuts you off to the rest of the park, and you literally feel immersed in that country's theming, culture, background, people. I love it.
Yeah, 100%. Matthew Murr, all the way from the UK. It's always good to see you, Matthew. Star Wars question. Here we go. And now we're going to get into some really controversial territory because we're talking Star Wars. Do you think there was ever much point in a prequel trilogy from the very beginning? I personally think from the outset that it was pointless. That's interesting, Matthew. I got to push back on that, though. I'm sorry, Matthew. I love you, buddy, but I got to push back. I love the prequels. Actually, it's weird because I'm kind of older. Like, my generation is more the original trilogy. So you would think and I grew up on the original trilogy as a young kid, you know what I'm saying? But it's weird. Like, I kind of resonated more with the prequels. Like, I kind of digged like Hayden Christensen as Anakin. I love that character. And the Obi-Wan. I don't know. The prequels were for me, the prequels were magic. I really did enjoy the prequels.
Sorry. I'm looking in the chat. Matthew Murr said, sorry, he meant the sequel trilogy.
Oh. Well, that's a different question. Okay, that's a whole different can of worms. Yeah, no, the prequels are amazing. I'm a huge Hayden fan, and I love those movies a lot, actually. But okay, so sequels, do I think they were pointless? No, I think there was a story to tell there. I really do. I think there's a story to tell there. I think the mistake they made is they didn't map out a story beginning to end, or at least have an outline of where they wanted the story to end up. It was kind of, let's do it as we go. And then when you throw in like different directors along the way, you get a hodgepodge mess. So for me, the idea of sequels wasn't the problem. Even the characters aren't the problem. You know what I'm saying? I think Rey as a character has potential. Finn, Poe, Kylo Ren. I mean, dope character. You know what I'm saying? It's the execution, though, of those characters and the storyline that were the issue for me. So if they would have mapped out a proper story and they would have fleshed out these characters more and given these characters what they deserved, I think it would have been amazing. And there's a story to tell there. But what do you think, George?
Yeah, so even though this was by accident, Matthew, just to the prequels, I actually agree with OG. I actually love the prequels. I resonated well with them. I don't know why. I know a lot of people give a lot of flack to them, but I do. I enjoy the prequels. The originals, they're classic. You can't go wrong with them. The sequel trilogy, how do I say this diplomatically? The sequel trilogy basically makes my balls itch. They really do.
Tell us how you really feel, George.
It's like they're okay. Like, I like them. I think probably what more so ruined it for me was two factors. Was what OG was talking about, where they didn't have an initial plan set out. They were basically just kind of working as they went, and there was no firm direction. They were switching directors. They had two different visions, and then trying to bring it all back together in the end. And then honestly, was in the parks. I feel like that they just utilized the sequel trilogy to death, and it's like, I'm so sick and tired of seeing Kylo Ren. I'm sorry, I am, because when I first saw him, when they were doing the Jedi Training Academy over at Disneyland, when the Force Awakens first came out, and they briefly showed him, I was like in awe, because it was like the first time I saw Darth Vader in the Disney parks, and he was like so like intimidating when you saw Kylo Ren, because he was a brand new villain. We didn't really know too much about him and everything. Now it's like you see him every day walking around Galaxy's Edge, and it's like, okay, like, it is what it is.
Yeah. No, I'm not, I don't hate the sequels. I don't hate them. The characters, like I said, have potential. I just think that they dropped the ball. And I think you're right, George, with the parks. I think they overused them. If they were to mix in a little bit, some prequel stuff, and mix in some OT stuff, and then even for the kiddos, mix in some of the animation, like really get all generations of Star Wars in that mix. I think Batu would be much more successful. You created a planet. You can put any era in there. Why box yourself in? It makes no sense. It makes no sense at all. Nope. BJ Vincent, good to see you, BJ. He says here, what was your very first Disney park, Walt Disney World and/or Disneyland Resort souvenir?
Ooh.
I don't know my very first one, but I do remember it was from Tomorrowland. It was like a visor, and it had like lights that went across the top, and like the colored lights that went across the top here. I think, if I'm not mistaken, it was Captain EO.
Ooh, interesting.
But I wish I still had that visor because I would rock the hell out of it today if I had it. It was dope.
So my very first souvenir I got was actually at Walt Disney World, and it was a an autograph book. It was a red autograph book, which I still have to this very day, and I had uh, beaten the all-time record for myself of having that whole entire autograph book filled up, and I got to see, I think it was about 64 characters that trip. That I got that whole souvenir book filled up.
Wow. 64?
64.
Oh my God, dude. Oh my God. That's crazy. That is absolutely wild. Now BJ here says mine was Walt Disney World, the first decade book, and Walt Disney's Epcot Center, creating the new world of tomorrow souvenir books. That is awesome.
Nice.
That is very, very awesome. 1 second. Let me just go ahead and fix this real quick. I got a little bit of a, there we go. Okay, so let's go on to our next question, which is from the one and only Girly Nerd. Girly Nerd, it is always awesome to see you, Girly Nerd. She's asking, what characters would you like to see in the parks? Me, I'd love to see Luke, Leia, Han, Obi-Wan, the Rocketeer. Day, that's dope. Giselle from Enchanted, Will Turner and Elizabeth Swann from Pirates, Peggy Carter. Let me see here. We got a few. I'd also like to see Wanda and Vision from different eras of the show, like the 50s and 60s. That's interesting. I like that idea a lot, actually. And have them look black and white. Let's put some in the park, not behind an After Dark event paywall. And I think that might be, yeah, that was it. Okay. First of all, Girly Nerd, I love your ideas. Rocketeer, amazing. Amazing. You can put him in maybe like Tomorrowland or even Hollywoodland at DCA. Chef's kiss. WandaVision, I was a big fan of that show. Like the first, early on, I thought it was amazing. Like what you're describing with the 50s and the 60s and those different eras, I thought it was really good. It lost me once it got into the later years when got into like the 2000s. I was like, okay, it's losing me, But I love the show early on. 1950s Wanda at DCA, Avengers Campus, would be dope. Would you be supportive of that?
That would be. Oh yeah, that would be so awesome to see. And I do love the notion when you say have them in black and white.
Yeah.
Because I also had like that idea, like even for like a classic like Mickey ride, or even part of Toontown, where you could have partial of Toontown, like that classic black and white, Plane Crazy, Steamboat Willie, Oswald the Lucky Rabbit, kind of black and white cartoons, where it's like when you walk into the land, I don't know, like how they somewhat kind of do stuff with the lights that you yourself look black and white. I think that would be so cool.
That would be cool. That'd be very, very cool.
And then as far as some of the characters you had mentioned, Girly Nerd, I think it was interesting when you mentioned Giselle from Enchanted. I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, they only showcased her in the parks one time, and I believe she was on the float during the Christmas Day parade. I think it was back in 2007 when, I think it was either 2006 or 2007 when the movie, well, I know the movie premiered in 2007, but I don't know if she was in the 2006 going into 2007, or if it was 2007 going into 2008 Christmas Day parade. That was the only time I ever remember seeing Giselle. But it's a shame, really. I think, honestly, I love that movie. I'm not too big on the sequel, Disenchanted, but I loved the first Enchanted film. I thought it was great. It blended traditional 2D animation with a great story of bringing like a cartoon character into the real world and kind of learning her way through everything. I love that movie, so I would love to see those characters represented in the parks.
Now, you didn't like the sequel?
I didn't really care too much for the sequel. It was okay. Now, I'm going to get heat for this, but it's like, I love Maya Rudolph. I do. I love her in SNL. I absolutely loved her in Bridesmaids. But the character she played in Disenchanted, I don't know. I find her kind of obnoxious. I didn't really see her as like a true type of villain. A villain type. Yeah.
Yeah, it was okay. I mean, I had a good time with it. I was entertained for the hour and a half or whatever it was. Definitely like a Disney Plus kind of.
Yeah.
thing, you know?
Yeah.
So, girly nerd here follows up with, as someone who can't handle certain kinds of coasters or drop rides like Guardians at DCA, I often wish they'd build more dark thrill rides like Indiana Jones. Do you think because that ride breaks down so often is the reason? Rise of the Resistance is awesome, but again, it breaks down a lot. Well, with Rise of the Resistance, I was actually talking to one of the ride, the leads or whatever, and he was telling us that it actually doesn't really break down. Most of the time, it shuts down by design because someone drops something on the floor. Like if you were on that ride and your hat flies off, the ride shuts down. It's because it runs on, it's like sensors, because it's trackless, you know what I'm saying? So when something gets on the ground, it senses that and the whole thing shuts down. So most of the time, girly nerd, when that thing is down, it's because someone probably dropped something, their mouse ears or something on the ground, and the whole thing has to reboot. It's a pain in the ass, it really is. But yeah, that's pretty much why, at least out here in California, because it was a lead from California that I was talking to. Obviously, I don't know about Hollywood, because I heard Hollywood Studios breaks down a whole lot more than ours. So it might be a different situation over there. What say you, George?
Yeah, I think it's actually interesting. Rise of the Resistance at Disneyland it breaks down, but yeah, not as much as Hollywood Studios. But yet, Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway at Disneyland breaks down more than Hollywood Studios. I thought that's kind of interesting. But yeah, just like, Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway, Rise of the Resistance, Indiana Jones, those kind of rides, you basically have to take it like when you have like a system like that's built into your computer,
right?
And it glitches, or you have to shut it down and return it back on, and it's as OG puts it, a pain in the ass to reboot. Think of those big computer systems that when it goes down, you have to reboot it, reset it, have it come back online, retest everything. The ride vehicles have to go, the audio animatronics have to go, the special effects have to go, the sound effects has to go. So there's more to it than just flicking a switch. And it's like, okay, we'll just turn it off and on and it's all better. There's a process to it.
Huge process, absolutely. CSRS here says, why do you think at this time, at least Disney abandoned plans to sell ABC, and could it still be sold at some point in the future? Well, yeah, anything is on the table in the future. Why do I think they abandoned the plans to sell ABC? I really couldn't tell you, to be honest with you, because I think linear TV is really, it is dying on the vine, and ABC isn't really a strong brand in and of itself. Like, I understand the ESPN thing. Sports is a money machine. I mean, technically it's like old school TV, but it's sports, you know what I'm saying? And ESPN is a very powerful brand. ABC is not a powerful brand. And so I don't know why they didn't sell it. There's got to be some financial thing behind the scenes where they crunched the numbers and they decided, hey, we can make this work, is probably the likely situation. But what do you think, George? Why didn't they get rid of ABC? And can they in the future get rid of it?
Well, I think for me, when it comes to ABC, and yes, I know it's part of like the linear television and what have you, but I think also too, ABC packs a little bit more than just, daytime television talk shows and what have you. I feel like ABC can kind of be that middleman, so to speak, like when they want to have something that's cross-promotional for the company or what have you, or when they have like the holiday events or the holiday parades. It racks in those numbers, and I think Disney kind of wants to utilize that still. I don't think that they're ready to give up ABC that easily.
You're right. Don't. Broadcast TV, what I'm saying? You can do those Disney Parks Christmas parades, or holiday parades, or whatever they call them now. You can do that stuff, and it's still, like you said, it still gets a lot of views. So, but I think eventually, could they possibly get rid of it? I mean, yeah, we're kind of getting to a point now where broadcast TV, while it does still bring in the numbers, there's going to be a point where...
Yeah. I think once they get all the bugs and the glitches out of Disney Plus, which may take some time, because they'll just use that as their platform to do all that stuff, then they'll probably consider ABC. I just don't think right now is
No,
not the good
not right
time.
now. Absolutely. And we do have somebody joining us actually right now. Let me go ahead and bring him in. The one and only Mr. Michael Leva.
Hey guys.
There he is. There he is. Emma, it's good.
Hold on.
Oh. Oh, damn.
Yeah, I was gonna say, Mike, you better shut your legs there a little bit.
That's dope, dude. You're rocking the Cheetos today, huh?
I'm rocking the Cheetos, man.
That is awesome, dude. That is awesome. Absolutely. Well, it's good to see you, Michael.
OG, you too, man. Thank you for having me on. Appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. I saw you in the chat. I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna send this dude a link. Let's get him on the show right now. Let's get him on.
Yes. Let's go.
Let's go. All right, here we go. So next question is from Girly Nerd. What's a blue sky attraction you'd love to see happen? Mine is a tangled boat ride, but it looks like that might be coming to Tokyo Disney expansion. Of course, everything's coming to Tokyo Disney. Love to see a Mary Poppins ride too. And then she follows up with, or a theme to the TV show Once Upon a Time, where you ride Emma's VW Bug, but I don't know that will ever happen. LOL. So what do you think? I'll start with you, Ebba, since you just joined us. What would be a blue sky attraction that you would love to see happen?
Well, actually, if you guys don't mind, can I go back to her last question real quick about the
yeah.
Indiana Jones thing? Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
So I actually want to comment that because I love Indiana Jones. That's like my favorite ride. And she's right? It's like that, like Guardians for me, although I'm afraid of heights, that ride doesn't bother me. But there's a lot of people who don't like drops and they don't like heights. So what thrill attraction can you make that doesn't have steep drops, big drops, crazy, fast or high intensity thrill stuff? Like Indiana Jones, I think it's a great balance of something that's thrilling but not super scary for anybody.
Literally, what you just did right now, Mike, you just described a park bench.
What?
No, exactly. I'm with you, Ebba. Like I'm not like a huge thrill junkie. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I like stuff that I can just I like the atmosphere stuff. Like that's why I think I like Animal Kingdom so much. It's like it's all atmosphere basically. You know what I'm saying? There isn't many rides. Yeah.
So, exactly.
Interesting. And then in terms of blue sky, what would you like to see?
Here's the thing. I know like that because we talked about this before. I know that Animal Kingdom already has it, but I want to see some dark, I know that dinosaurs kind of dark in there, but I want to see some kind of scary dinosaur thrill ride in that manner.
That'd be cool.
Like not like a boat, like Jurassic World, like Universal, because I don't want to get wet. You know me. I said I don't want to get wet. But I want something kind of scary for like dinosaurs or something. I think that'd be really cool. Well, what that would be, I don't know, but I would love to see something like that. Maybe just more scary, kind of darker stuff in terms of attractions. I think that'd be cool.
Well, I think for me, I'm always up for a water ride because I'm the opposite. I like getting wet.
Of course you do, George.
Yeah, that's the same. But I actually, Girly Nerd, you had mentioned Mary Poppins, and I thought that was kind of interesting. The kind of Mary Poppins ride that I had envisioned, which, believe it or not, was in the blue sky process at times by, I believe it was Tony Baxter, when he came on the stage for a D23 event when I was down in Florida. They had showcased some concept art for several Mary Poppins attractions. One was, it was like a parachuter, like those traditional parachuter spinner rides that are like at carnivals or amusement parks. Well, this one was actually designed to look like Mary Poppins' umbrella with the parrot.
Okay.
So that they were supposed to have that, like for young kids and what have you. And then the other one was the carousel, where you're riding a carousel, but then it goes off the track and you do like a derby race, like how they did in the movie, and then it goes back into the carousel itself. I thought that would have been really cool if they would have done something like that.
What I want to see so bad, and this is never, ever, ever going to happen, okay? And we talked a little bit about earlier on in the show, George, about TV shows like in the parks, using the Indiana Jones ride system, a DuckTales ride. Like,
Ooh, yeah,
and you're, and,
That'd be
you
awesome.
know what I'm saying? And you're like on this search for like the treasure or something, and they can have the theme song, which is an absolute banger. I mean, it would just be so crazy, so fun. I would love a DuckTales dark ride with the Indiana Jones Jeeps, you know?
Right?
Life is like a hurricane. Oh man, I tell you, it would be one of the best attractions of all time, I think. You know what I'm saying? Absolutely, hands down. I would love it.
I
Absolutely love it.
actually, you know what? I just thought of one more thing I would actually like to see a Kingdom Hearts attraction.
Oh, that would be cool. That would be very, very cool.
That'd be interesting.
Yeah, they got to do more with that property. You know, they got to like make a movie, make something like, you know what I'm saying? That's a great concept. And same with Epic Mickey, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
That would definitely tie in because if they wanted to do something a little bit more towards like the Japanese anime style, where they can kind of infuse that with Square Enix. And if they, yeah, as you said, OG, if they were to make a movie franchise or a TV series and put it on and stream it on Disney Plus, oh man, that'd be awesome.
Oh, it'd be amazing. It'd be
Well,
amazing.
and see the thing too is right. It's like that Disney is starting to kind of delve more into the game side. So why not bring some of that gaming stuff into the parks?
Yep, absolutely. Absolutely. And gaming's hot right now. You know what I'm saying? It really is hot right now. Ask Universal. Look what they've done with Mario, you know?
Yep, exactly.
So CSRS, if Avatar goes in the Simba lot at DCA, what would replace Hollywoodland? Would it be something cloned from Hollywood Studios, like hypothetical Disney Animation Land? Okay, hypothetical. Let's just say Pandora goes.
Really quick. I'm so sorry, OG. Because I mentioned about the Mary Poppins thing, but I didn't actually mention my own thing really quick. Sorry, girly nerd. An idea I always had in my mind was to have an up attraction, and you would use the swinging pendulum type of ride system, so you'd be harnessed, but the seat would actually be like the Wilderness Explorer's backpack, so the house would be above you. And so like you would kind of swing like as the house is like floating, so it'd be like you're going through like the caverns and the mountains of South America, sort of like how Russell and Carl did in the movie.
That's dope. I like that. I like that a lot, actually.
Yeah.
Very good idea, George. You got Joe Rody in there giving you cheat codes.
He's in here. He's in here.
CSRS here says, okay, so yeah, if Avatar, if Pandora goes into the Simba lot, which I believe, and I know I'm going to get a bunch of like, well, actually, in the, you know, because I don't know the exact acreage, but I think Simba lot is like 30 acres ish. You know what I'm saying? And you might even be able to squeeze out a little more if you bulldoze that Pixar hotel, right?
They really need to.
They really do, but it probably not gonna be for a while now. Yeah. But so Pandora, from what I understand, is what, like 12 acres?
12 acres, yes.
Okay, so you can technically fit 2 Pandoras in that parking lot. Okay, so all the people that say there's no room, it's impossible to put Pandora. Trust me, there's room. Once Disneyland Forward goes through, there's gonna be plenty of room for it. You know what I'm saying? I also remember too, there was no room at Disneyland for a 15-acre Galaxy's Edge until Disney decided they're going to bulldoze.
OG, you there? Oh,
okay.
We lost him.
Hey, yep, we got a little little glitch there. Yeah, so he'll pop back on soon, but yeah, he'll finish what he was saying. So I don't want to double speak what he's going to say because he'll come on. I want him to actually talk it, but yeah, for me, until he comes back on, for me, I feel like a lot of people kind of have this interpretation that like whatever visually is in front of them, it's like, okay, it's impossible. It's like you can't do it because you have a hotel sitting there. That is true for now, but eventually in time, they could demolish that hotel easily, level it out, combine all the land together, pick another location once they get all the zonings in, and rework another hotel in a different location on the property.
Yeah, exactly. So, you know what's funny, George, is that actually today I was actually talking to a coworker of mine, like probably about like 10 in the morning, and like we're talking about Disneyland because him and his wife, they have Magic Keys, and we're talking about like Disneyland Forward and all that, and he's like, yeah, dude, I was really surprised that like that once they had Galaxy's Edge, because I was like, where's it going to go? There's no space. And apparently they made space. And I was like, yeah, they did, you know? So if Disney wants to do something, they're going to do it. And you have a hotel? Yeah, who cares? Knock that crap
and
down.
they reworked the whole entire Rivers of America. Like,
Yeah.
they literally blocked it, reworked it, and, like, I mean, yeah, it took time, but that's showing commitment right there.
Exactly. And the thing, too, right, is like, here's the thing, that whole Simba parking lot space, if you can fit 2 Pandoras, George, because remember the other night you were saying, you know, Bob Iger, he wants a bigger space than what was said for it in DCA, right?
Mhm.
So what if we get a huge Pandora with like 3 attractions? That'd be really cool, I think. You know,
Mhm.
but of course you'd have to knock down that hotel for it. But hey, I'm all for it. Get rid of that thing and, you know, put that awesome piece of like land there for Pandora. That'd be sick.
Yeah, I think because there were talks, and you and I were talking on the phone about this. That, you know, this was just hearsay. This isn't like officially mentioned or nothing, but they were talking about, you know, Avatar going into Grizzly Peak. Iger wanted it to be bigger. Then they decided that, you know, it's possible that Pandora is going where Hollywoodland is.
Yeah.
I don't know if that is true. That's what the hearsay is. Um, but again, if it does, they're going to have to expand out um, the backlot, and that may take some time.
Well, see, because we were talking, because remember how so we're talking, and I'm trying to think. Okay, if you do the Hollywood area, and you try to take out that whole bus section, you're going to be having a lot of construction and whatnot, like literally on like city streets. So how is that going to work with traffic and all that?
Well, and that's the thing. It just depends on, and again, it is possible. It could be done. It just
Yeah, yeah.
depends on how quickly they want Pandora to open. And when I say quickly, I don't mean cheaply done. But if they have James Cameron won't allow it.
No, not at all.
If they want to have it opened at a specific time,
Hmm.
to then expand out the backlot into the bus loading, they're going to have to again clear that out, rezone another area for the bus reloading. That's going to take away from the initial entrance. That's going to hinder the security checkpoint. So that's going to all have to be moved. So again, it is possible. It could be done. But again, that's going to have to be all done first before even one shovel of dirt is lifted for Pandora itself. And I don't know if they want to do all that right now, but then that worries me, because if they do decide to put it in Hollywoodland and they don't touch the back lot, like to expand it out, is that going to make Pandora suffer as far as like the quality? Because you had mentioned to me when you went to Universal, a big issue for you with Nintendo Land is how boxed in it is, and that was an issue for me as well.
Yeah, no, exactly. Like that box look, I did not like that at all. Because especially like when you view it from like when you see it up top, right? You see it, you have like all these kind of like you show up buildings, and you got like this Super Nintendo like world, and it's like it's colorful, looks nice, but then just like this square box. But you know, but going back to the Pandora thing, you know, I don't think James Cameron is going to let, you know, any quality slip on this, right? I don't think he'll sign on to do this unless it's done like a certain way, and something that makes sense and that's going to fit, right? But here's the thing, I want to know, right? If they do rework that whole bus station and the security checkpoint, do you think maybe at that point they'll use that as like an excuse to then upgrade their security entrance?
God, I hope so, because I'm sorry, California needs to update that security. They need to adapt what Florida has, where you just literally you walk in. If you get censored, you move over to the next station, and that's where they wand you. You
Yep.
take everything out of your pockets. But unless you don't get signaled over, you just walk through, and it's a painless procedure. I just feel like that this is so old fashioned, and it takes so long to get everybody through there.
Yeah, it does, because when we went to Universal, and I'll tell this when we do the review, but I loved how we just threw our stuff in the bin, it went right through, you walked through the scanner, and that was it. It took like 5 seconds, you know. But for here in Disneyland, because George, I'm not sure, do they do that in Walt Disney World? Because you know, here in Disneyland, like they check every single bag, right? And like they have you.
Yeah, no, they used to do that, but now you just walk through the scanners, and it's like you're you're good to go.
Okay. So people in chat, right? I want to ask you guys: are you guys excited for Pandora coming to, let's just say DCA, right? Do you want like a clone of it from Walt Disney World, or do you want like your own like Pandora in California? Because there's a lot of assumption going around that the Pandora that we're going to get is going to be a exact clone. I personally don't think so. I think we will get something that is unique to Disneyland or to DCA if that's where it's going to go. If that's where it goes, I think I hope it makes sense.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean. We already talked about that. But yeah, I mean, I'm super excited for Pandora, and I know the whole theme with like the PR stuff going on right now is not very good. But I do think Bob Iger said what he meant personally.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I do. Yeah,
No.
absolutely. I'm going to continue on with the chat. I do apologize. OG is having some technical issues. He will be joining back up with us soon. So unfortunately, I don't have the control to bring up the question on screen. So I'm just going to read it as we go down. So everyone just bear with us, please. So this is continue on with CSRS. He is saying, in a Hollywoodland replacement, could you see something like a Midway Mania-like ride replacing the Sunset Showcase Theater? Or would it be an Omnimover style ride instead? What do you think, Ebbs?
You go first because I want to see what your idea is.
Okay.
I throw mine out.
Gotcha. Okay. So for me, so when it comes to Midway Mania, I love Toy Story Midway Mania.
Yeah.
However, I am so done with like these game kind of shooter rides. I am like so over it. Like Midway Mania was great. It was Buzz Lightyear Space Ranger Spin 2.0, and then we get Web Slingers. We don't need another one, especially in DCA. That would be 3 of them in there. I would just be beside myself. I'd be like, someone give me the aspirin. Like, I'm so done.
Are you so done, George?
I'm so done.
He's so done.
I'm so done. But I do think CSRS. I do think. I would love to see them do something with Hollywoodland if Pandora is not what goes in there. I do feel like it definitely needs a facelift for sure. But of course I say leave the Hyperion. The Hyperion has to stay. I can't foresee Disney taking that down. That would be an immortal sin if they did. Everything else to the back lot. And even to the strip, walking down the Hollywoodland, especially with those god awful backdrops, to me, I know Kaylee's going to get on my case for this. I know it's like screams DCA 1.0, and it just kind of has to go for me. It doesn't match the rest of the park, unfortunately. But OG, glad to have you back, bro.
No, it's good to be back. No,
Welcome back.
thanks. Yeah, my Roadcaster. Every now and then it'll like glitch out and just like it'll mute me. Like I can't like hear anything. It'll glitch out, so I have to reboot my whole system. So it's a pain in the ass. But I am back. Unfortunately, though, I think I lost some of the comments. So this is the first one I see.
So we didn't. So we didn't go too far. We were on the CSRS.
Yeah, but the problem is that I don't.
Did it clear you? Did it clear you off?
Yeah, it cleared me.
Okay.
Read those. The first one I see on my list is Lovelow. No, 7. It says Lovelow 7. If Disney was to ever buy Hasbro, so if you can,
that might be all the way down. Yeah. Do you want me to read like where? Because I have.
Until we get to Lovelow, and then
Gotcha. Cool.
Okay. Wait.
Okay.
Hold on.
Oh yeah. So Mike. Yeah. You got to give your What was your thoughts on it?
Well, I'm trying to find that question on here, but the last one I see is from Lovelow, where the cast members would wear makeup. But that's where I last see it. It's right above theme park casual.
Okay, you got to go up more.
I can't. I'm stuck.
You're stuck.
Yeah, I'm from there and down.
Gotcha. Okay, so in the shortest amount, you're both fucked then. Okay, so it's okay. But anyway, Mike. So I'll reread it to you. So and then OG, if you want to jump into this too. So yeah, and this is coming from CSRS. He continued, in a Hollywoodland replacement, could you see something like a Midway Mania like ride replacing the Sunset Showcase Theater, or would it be an Omnimover style ride instead?
Go ahead.
Ooh, nice. Jinx, you owe me a Coke.
I think so. Cause so here's the thing: we already have a Omnimover style ride with Ariel. Now I'm not opposed to having another one, but I would like to see like a really good just dark ride, something like I don't know, maybe I'm just kind of old school, but I want to see something kind of like Snow White or something like that, or Alice in Wonderland, per se, but of course in the more updated, fresh and new, right, modern stuff. And what that would be, if you're going to keep Hollywoodland, it probably has to be something, of course, maybe that could be the Avatar attraction if they're, if they didn't do a land, but they were doing like an attraction, they can probably do something like that.
I'm so sorry, Mike, not to cut you off. Did you say maybe?
I said maybe.
He did say maybe. Here we go. Wait, hold on. Oh, you caught me off guard, George. Hold on. Here we go. Here we go. Maybe.
'Cause I'm that girl that drives you crazy, but you're killing me alone. Got you thinking maybe alone. Got you thinking maybe alone. Got you thinking maybe.
There we go. Maybe is in the house.
Maybe.
Maybe. All right, Eva, continue.
Yeah. So
continue,
actually, so I'm gonna be honest, I don't really know what I want in Hollywoodland because actually, to be honest, guys, and I'm sorry, it's like one of my least favorite parts of the park. I never go over there for anything. I rarely ever go on Monsters Inc. and whatever that's over there. Like I don't. I like his. Here's the thing. I don't ever shop really either for stuff, so I never go down that way. Unless I just want to just cruise. But if they got rid of that whole section and built something else, I don't care really what it is. I'm fine with that. Give me whatever. I'm good.
No, I can see that. I think the theme has potential if you kind of want to do like more of like a period piece, like like you have 1930s Hollywood or 1930s Los Angeles with Buena Vista Street. Maybe you turn the corner, you go to 1940s Hollywood, have like a nice little Captain America ride or something in there, kind of have that scene because they're going to do the IP. There's no getting around it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And you can kind of do that. That'd be kind of dope. You could do an Avatar attraction, because what you could do is that whole section with like Muppets and Hollywood and Dine or the former Hollywood and Dine and Monsters Inc. You can bulldoze all that, and then if they can get the bus load area, over there, to expand into that, then you have some acres to kind of work with. So maybe you can put the Avatar attraction there if you're not going to do the whole land. You know what I'm saying? And then that would fit into the California theme because now you're putting Avatar in Hollywood land. It makes a lot more sense, Yeah. But I mean, now actually the one part of DCA though that I would not mind if they bulldozed it to the ground, and this is going to be extremely controversial, I think.
Ooh, yeah, let's go, OG.
is the pier. I think you can bulldoze that entire pier and replace it with like a Disney Sea style harbor. And I'm a happy OG. You know what I'm saying? I don't really like the pier thing too much. It's okay, but put something really fleshed out there. It's kind of like the heart of DCA, a really elaborate like themed area. I mean, amazing. That would be the one area for me. That's like my Hollywood land for you, Michael.
Yeah,
you can get rid of it.
Yeah, exactly. So I have a question for you though. If you get rid of the pier, like that pier kind of theme, right? Would you keep the water for World of Color?
Yes. So you'd keep the water, and around it would just be more like what you see at Disney Sea, like their harbors and stuff. Okay. Something similar to that, Yeah.
What would you specifically put in there? Like if you had to pick, like if that was your choice at Imagineering, you're going to clear out the pier, and you're going to get that style like with the harbor and everything. But as far as like to fill in that area, like what specific like attractions or things would you add in there?
Oh, that's interesting.
I know. I have one.
Go for it.
Sorry, OG. Sorry. So I actually mentioned to you, I think when we were at Universal, if again, this is me because I'm a fucking fanboy of a fanboy of Sonic. If they had the licensed IP, I would put that boom right there. You could have like Eggman Land or Eggtopia, something. I would put that right there in that section. Nice.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it would be a harbor similar to like the American waterfront or something like that at Disney Sea. Attraction though, I haven't gotten that far with it. I don't know. You keep the body of water. You keep World of Color too, obviously. But I just don't know.
What if that whole area would then become like the Latin Hispanic Colombian South America feel to it?
That would be great. I would love something like that. Absolutely. That'd be fantastic.
Or
Absolutely.
or what if the Simba lot became that? You extend that over there, because then
Right.
you can incorporate Coco and Encanto, and you can make those like you can make that one big South America like land.
Right. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
absolutely. You could put the Latin America land right there in the symbol lot. Plenty of room for that.
Yeah.
Oh, and as I was saying too, I was kind of going on a little bit of a rant, and then the roadcaster died on me. But it's like, there's a lot of talk about there's not enough space for Pandora, there's not enough space for this, not enough space for that. Look, we didn't think there was any space for the 15-acre Star Wars land either, but Disney found a way, right? They bulldozed backstage, they rerouted the train and everything, the railroad. It's like, if they want to put Pandora in this park, they're going to figure it out,
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And, but yeah. And, for this Latin America land though, I would love that, dude. I would love that. And then you can have it can almost be like DCA's New Orleans Square. You can have the outdoor vendors cooking food.
Mhm.
Oh God, playing music. It would just be beautiful. I would absolutely adore that. So
Yeah,
Awesome.
and also I just wanted to remind people too, Disneyland or the Disneyland Resort is very, very good at utilizing the space they have.
Yeah.
Sorry, George,
They
what
do.
Disney World or not, I don't know what the issue is, but Disneyland, I believe it really forces what is Imagineering to think outside the box of how they're going to create this land.
no, yeah, the space management out here in California is way better than in Florida. Florida, what they did with Hollywood Studios and getting rid of the Great Movie Ride to put Mickey and Minnie in there, I think was a waste. When you can add Mickey and Minnie to the park and keep the Great Movie Ride, and now you're adding massive capacity to that park.
And especially the Great Movie Ride with all the IPs and the acquisitions, especially with Fox, that they could have added to the Great Movie Ride. I'm sorry, they dropped the ball there on that one.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
What's
And
next on the
then
books?
moving on, continuing with CSRS, could a trackless ride on par with, speaking of which, Runaway Railway, fit in the transportation hub behind Hollywoodland? And that's the area we were talking about, Mike, the bus loading area.
Yeah, it could fit in there if you do the Google Maps. I don't have it up right now, but there's a lot of room there's a lot of room back there to put an attraction. You can definitely do that. You can put a trackless ride there, maybe even a boat ride or something like that. I mean, it's a good sized space,
Yeah, definitely.
And I think that's the plan. I mean, that's what they wanted to do. Initially
With the Eastern Gateway, yeah, that
Right.
was essentially going to be Avengers Campus.
Exactly.
A Bugs Land was never on the chopping block. It was never on the chopping block.
Yeah. So what say you, Eva? What do you think? You think they can put something in there that could maybe trackless or otherwise?
Oh, trackless, yeah, definitely. I mean, because if you look at the rides we're getting nowadays, everything's becoming more like a Rise or Mickey and Minnie's, right? I think, in my opinion, that's the new modern style of dark ride that we're going to get, and it's fantastic. I love it. It feels so smooth, right? You have these big show buildings, big scenes. It's fantastic. It's fantastic. And I'm actually looking right now the map of Disneyland and that kind of bus area, and yeah, that is enough space for sure for a trackless dark ride. Definitely, you could definitely do that. But OG, while you were gone, I was telling George, I was like, okay, if they kind of take that part out, how is the construction going to look like? I mean, I know they can do it, but how will that affect traffic on the road of Harbor, if at all?
Yeah, no, I don't think it'll affect traffic. But they're gonna have to figure a way to get the people over from the other side of the street still over to the resort. I mean, we're gonna get that bridge, so you would have to incorporate the bridge into that design, into that expansion. You know what I'm saying? Somehow.
Do you think that show building or whatnot would actually interfere with the monorail track?
No, because I think they could probably build maybe around that. It's close though. It's close, and then you also gotta have that bridge or something because you gotta have the people from Harbor to come over, so that's part of the equation too. So it's not all free land,
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting.
Disney can pull it off though. When they get
yeah.
get creative, they'll figure something out.
Yeah.
And then once they present it to us, we'd look and say, "Oh yeah, why couldn't we have thought of something like that?" And it's like, as long as Tomorrow, gets his thumb out of his butt, and really does something with it, let's,
Yeah.
But
Does something with the park, not with his thumb, right?
exactly, yes.
Just to clarify.
Clarify, yes. Yeah, do something with the park. I don't care what he does with his thumb afterwards. It's like
What's the next question?
that wouldn't be a green thumb.
Exactly.
Well, I guess it depends on what he ate that day. But anyway, moving on. Yeah, moving on to BJ Vincent. Let's see. This is a non-Disney question, but name a movie that was a guilty pleasure for you, in that you loved the movie but would not recommend it to other people. An example would be, I love the movie Sucker Punch. It gets too much hate, but I would not come close to calling it a masterpiece. I think it has a lot of great style and it's fun garbage food.
That's interesting. I don't know off the top of my head. He's basically saying like, what bad movie do you like that everyone else hates? You know? Oh man, I don't even know. I mean,
Bad movie.
I don't know. Cause that's tough, dude. And anything? What do you think, George? Anything that you?
I'm trying to think of some movies that like are like coming in like into my head that. Well, there's a movie I did enjoy. I can't really recommend. Oh God, I can't really recommend it to anyone. But it's called Mr. Woodcock.
Oh God. Okay. Here we go.
Of course, yes. Woodcock.
It stars Billy Bob Thornton.
Oh, okay.
And I think Sean Evans Scott, I believe, and it's about a young guy who was a boy, and he got tormented by his gym teacher, and he grew up, and here his mom now is seeing said gym teacher. So there's like a lot of like clashing between where it's like he feels like the gym teacher is now manipulating him as a man that he did as a child. It's a comedy. His mom is played by Susan Sarandon, and there's a scene in the movie where he is stuck under their bed, and you see the bed moving up and down, and you just see Sean Evans Scott's like face, like just morbid, like he's like. Like you just seen a ghost.
Oh, that's funny.
So it's a funny movie. It's a good, but I can't say like it's like the all-time best. Like if critics probably saw the movie, they would like, this movie is horrible. But yeah, okay. Mr. Woodcock it came to mind.
Mr. What? Mr. What?
Mr. Woodcock.
Okay. Sorry.
Hey guys, is that what happened when you put it in?
Oh geez, Emma.
Sorry.
Oh God. So Emma, what bad movie do you like guilty pleasure? That you would never recommend to anybody.
Okay. So actually, no. But to give a different answer, if I may, there's a movie I do like, and I heard that there was supposed to be like a new version from Disney about it, which was Flight of the Navigator.
Oh, that's interesting.
That was one of my favorite movies growing up. So no, I don't have like a guilty pleasure movie. If I don't like a movie, I'm gonna tell you not to fucking watch it.
I will say that we're probably gonna wake up tomorrow and they're gonna have it like on the reviews that the movie Mr. Woodcock just got like how many like ratings up of viewers after watching this thing.
Oh jeez, unbelievable. That's crazy. I didn't even heard of that movie. That's crazy.
Yeah, I think it came out in 2006.
Okay, so it's not like too old. It's old, but not too bad.
Yeah. All right, so moving right along, we have the girly nerd. Non-Disney question. Another non-Disney question. What's your favorite I Love Lucy episode? Mine is L.A. at Last when Lucy meets William Holden.
I like the Vitamin to Vegemin episode.
Oh,
that was fun. I like that one a lot. What about you, Eva? Were you an I Love Lucy guy? Did you ever watch that show?
So sorry to disappoint you guys. I was not, so I cannot give my input on this.
Oh man, that's a great show though.
Mine would have to be honestly like the infamous the factory scene.
Oh, with chocolates.
With the I'm sorry. Like I can go back and rewatch that over and over again. Which here's a fun fact for you too. The scene where the bread pops out of the oven.
Oh yeah.
That actually is a real loaf of bread. They actually had that specially made.
Really?
Yes. Yes.
That's interesting.
Because they wanted it realistic as possible.
This is George, man. He always comes with the thing that you never thought he would know. Like, how do you know that, George? How do you know that?
It's my researching abilities. I love it.
It's his superpower. What's the next question?
Next one, we have Andrew Kellogg, and he is asking, do you think if Disney, do you think if Disney America, an American history theme park, would work if it had been built?
Okay. Oh, okay. So he's talking about
the Disney America. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, it would have worked. You know. I mean. It was technically Disneyland itself was kind of Disney's America in a lot of ways. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it would have worked. You know. But unfortunately, I think the residents killed that project, and it never happened. Some of it, though, actually did end up in DCA, from what I understand. I think the pier was actually a concept that they had for that park. So interesting. But what do you think? Do you think it could work, George? Or I mean, if they were to build that nowadays, or it's kind of hard because now they're so obsessed with the IP, though. You know?
Yeah, I think in the time, like when they were considering it, I think it would have been a very strong land. I don't know, like, depending on like what they were envisioning originally, I don't know how it would work out in today's time. Of course, I love history. I love going through like the history books and all that. So I think it would have been really cool to kind of put us into a place like back in that time era. But I mean, majority rules, and I think Disney is on that IP hype train.
Yeah. What about you, Ebba? Are you familiar with Disney's America? The kind of an old school Americana themed park. You think something like that could work nowadays, or?
I mean, with the way they're going with IP driven, maybe they could do like an IP that's like a land that's like a set period piece. Kind of like what you allude to, Orgy, with like the Hollywood area. Maybe you can do like, I don't know, like a 1600s period piece for like that land or something to make it. But here's the thing though, the attractions would have to be a new original IP though, in a way, built around that, right? And actually, I was just looking. Do you guys remember when there was that theme park that was supposed to come out? I don't know if it's still going to be built or not, but I'm looking at Business Insider. A future theme park in Oklahoma that celebrates America and could rival Disney's Magic Kingdom in size will include a gigantic RV park with 750 spaces.
I did hear about that. That was kind of recently, right? Like back in like October or something. I think they announced that park.
Yeah,
it's recent.
Yeah, it says the American Heartland theme park and resort is scheduled to open in 2026.
Wow. Well, that's interesting. Well, we'll keep an eye on that. We'll see how it does,
Yeah.
Because that might be indicative of like maybe what Disney's America would have done or could have done.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Moving along with another one from Andrew Kellogg. Do you think a theme park based on 1939 and the stories Wizard of Oz would have worked? Because from 1991 to 2001, an independent company called Oz Entertainment Company tried to get an Oz theme park built called The Wonderful World of Oz in Kansas City, Kansas.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great story. I don't know though.
About like a whole park?
Yeah. And Wizard of Oz isn't really, I don't know. I feel like with Wizard of Oz, I don't know, outside of that original film from the 30s, the franchise hasn't really caught much. I mean, well, Wicked has been popular, but
I just don't know. Like, I mean, the trailer has been, for me, it didn't really do so much. It was a bit lackluster for me. I love the Broadway adaptation of Wicked as a film, though. It just kind of reminds me of Oz the Great and Powerful back in 2012.
It gives that energy off for sure, and it might be a much better movie, and it probably is. But it looked like the Great and Powerful movie to me,
Yeah.
But what do you think, Ebba? You think an all Oz park could work? Or is the
No.
franchise a little no?
No. Although I will say, and RG, I'm sorry to cut you off.
No, you're good.
I think probably a land. Probably you probably do a land. You'd have to have again execution is key here. Your attractions, your restaurants had to be really well done. The theming has to be like fantastic, right? Because yeah, I know a lot of people maybe they don't like Wizard of Oz or they don't really know like the lore of it. But as far as I know, I think like the world of Oz, right? It's supposed to be like there's supposed to be like a lot of different like lands in the Oz world. Oz world.
Right.
So maybe you can take some pages from that and kind of construct like a piece of land from that world. What I think would be cool, take a page out of the ET ride and make like the system where like you're like above, like you're on a bike, just kind of going around. I think that's a cool little.
That'd be cool with a little Toto in your basket.
Yeah, exactly.
That'd be great.
That'd be kind of. Of course, then if you have it like on the bike, then that would make you like Miss Gulch. So it's like as you're riding, you get the.
That's great.
T.S. Wade, how you doing, brother? Glad to have you in here. He is asking, who do you think will be the CEO of Disney, and will it be official?
Yeah. Well, when will it be official? I think
when will it be? He got and will. Yeah. When will it be official? Yeah.
I think we'll find out by the end of this year who will be the successor of Bob Iger. I really do. Probably tail end of this year, though. It's tough. I thought it was Dana Walden's to lose. I really did. I think she was the number one contender. I don't know. When they brought back this past summer, Kevin Meyer and Tom Staggs as consultants for the linear TV stuff and all that, I think that was a big sign of no confidence in the current crop of CEO contenders. Because if Bob Iger was confident in a Dana Walden and a Daddy Josh, he wouldn't have had to bring in those guys to come and help him out. You know what I'm saying? So, that was a big sign of no confidence. Right now, I think that Kevin Meyer is definitely on that short list. Even Tom Staggs, I think he's on that short list. I wouldn't completely rule out this new CFO, Hugh Johnston. I think he's a possibility. Our friend Seymour Duck, he shared an article about the possibility of Reggie, the former Nintendo executive, coming in and helming Disney. Now that would be something else because Reggie was beloved at Nintendo, and he would be like another Michael Eisner. I
loved him as the CEO of Nintendo, man. He was great.
Would you support that if he came to Disney?
Yeah, dude. Because here's the thing. The great thing about Nintendo is that it's like Disney. It's a family brand. It's a family IP, right? And Reggie, when you watch him, dude, he is very passionate about the company, very passionate about the IPs, and he's also, I mean, not that Bob Iger's not. I don't know. Does Bob Iger have kids? Right? Does he have kids?
I believe he does. Yeah.
Okay. So, but Reggie seems like very much like a dad, right? He wants his kids to have fun. He wants his family to have fun, and I just really loved him as CEO. He's very passionate, and also, he had a vision with the company, and I just really loved him, And now here's the thing, like right now the current CEO, I don't know because I don't really care about who the CEO is currently because they're not that interesting. Reggie was like the man. I love that dude. I miss him at Nintendo.
And that's why I say he would be much like a Michael Eisner, where he would do like, the kind of like the Uncle Walt kind of thing, and introduce maybe the world of Disney, or he's a very likable guy. And Bob Iger is too, in a way. Like Bob Iger is very charming, but he seems a little like la-di-da, like super well, like super like super wealthy, like billionaire, like, you know what I'm saying? And it's like a different kind of thing. He's charming, he absolutely is, but he's just not. Reggie's like the homie. Like Reggie is like he's very, very, But what are your thoughts, George? Who could be the next, or who do you think right now realistically is the top contender right now for Disney CEO?
I think before it was kind of slim pickings when we really didn't know like which direction the company was going forth. When Iger came back into the seat as CEO, it was a lot of talks like back and forth with Dana Walden and Josh D'Amaro, God help us all, that because Iger was taking them on a lot of like quote unquote field trips. He took them to award ceremonies, he took them to Disneyland Paris, and honestly, between the two, I was okay with Dana Walden up until the fact when she made some kind of boo-boos like with like Kathleen Kennedy and what have you, and it kind of made me question her notion of like what direction she would take the company in. But yeah, like everyone that you had mentioned, OG, like you have Hugh Johnston, you have Tom Staggs, you have like Kevin Myers, so you have like all these potential front runners. And honestly, I said it before and I'll say it again, I think the Walt Disney Company is at its strongest when you have a dual partnership as CEO.
Yes, exactly. I 100% agree. They need to do that because, guys, here's the thing: Walt Disney Company, it's huge, right? You have so many different aspects of it, and here's the thing: it's not really fair to have all of that on one person's shoulders, dude. It is not. Like, you need another person there to help you guide the company, and I think that's the best way to do it.
Yeah, the company was founded on that duality. It was founded with Walt and Roy,
Yeah.
You bring in, let's say you bring in Reggie and Kevin Meyer or something.
Oh, man.
Boom, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like something like that, And that's what I want to see from Bob Iger, though. I want to see this next CEO choice be an exciting kind of different kind of, like, I don't want the boring safe move. You know what I'm saying? I want him to really stir stuff up. Like a Reggie Meyer co-CEO thing would be different. That would be exciting. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want to see him just go with like Daddy Josh or just like the standard, stuff again. I want something that's really going to energize us. And I want like people who are going to bring something very different to the table. You know what I'm saying? Not just the same old again. So
yeah. Well, here's the thing. The one thing I'm looking for is someone with a vision.
Yes.
For the company,
Exactly.
Because if you don't have a vision, you're lost. Like where are you going to take the company?
Right.
So
yeah.
And the best person who has a vision is Wanda.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Hey, bring it on. I love Elizabeth Olsen. She can run the company. Let's go.
Absolutely. Yeah, plaster her all over a billboard. I'd be happy. So moving on back to Mr. BJ Vincent, with classic Hanna-Barbera cartoons being put on Blu-ray, do you feel if Disney were to place some of their old and new animated series on Blu-ray, there would be a demand?
On Blu-ray?
Maybe if they do the whole like limited Disney Vault thing, like we're like, oh, it's coming out for like 6 months or something. It's going back. We're gonna take it away now.
And that was a Chapek thing when he did consumer products. Like he like hit that like on the mark because when he said, when they did like those commercials, like it's going back in the Disney Vault, get it before it's gone, and it's like people were like at the stores, and I was one of them. Like,
and that's the thing about Bob Chapek. People talk a lot of crap about Bob Chapek, and rightfully so. He's not exactly like, he's creative, but not in the way that we want him to be creative. Like when it comes to making money and squeezing money out of the consumer, he's very creative. Very creative.
Exactly.
But as a businessman, that's a good quality to have. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like that Vault thing that he came up with, that's a smart business decision. He's a creative dude, you know what I'm saying? But he's not creative in the way that we want him to be creative with Disney, though. You know what I'm saying? So, but yeah, that was actually a really smart business move on his part. It was like kind of diabolical a little bit, but it made a lot of sense business-wise, So yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, because and BJ Vincent continued like examples like Gargoyles, Tailspin, Darkwing Duck, Monsters at Work, The Bad Batch, to name a few. I do know that they released Darkwing Duck, Tailspin, DuckTales. They released them on like the complete series box set. I used to have them. And I think they did, I enjoy them, but I don't know if it would necessarily be like a demand for them, like necessarily if they re-release them. I think honestly DVD and Blu-rays are just like going out of style.
Yeah, because a lot of people, the mindset is kind of like, well, these things are on like the streamer, you know what I'm saying? It's on Disney Plus, it's on Hulu, it's on Netflix. Like, do I really need to own it? Now, I like physical media. I do have some physical media and all that. I support physical media, but like even me, like I've kind of, my purchases are now farther and fewer between because I do have the streaming services,
Exactly.
And unless it's something that I really, really love. Like if it's like the Star Wars movies, I buy those, you know what I'm saying? Yes. But like most of the time, if it's not like something that I'm like really super into, it can be on the streamer. I'm fine with that.
See, I think Okay, so I think we're like this is like kind of a dangerous territory because so here's the thing. Although I do love physical media, what I don't like is all the space it takes up in my apartment, right?
That's fair.
And also I'm not a huge collector as well. I mean it's cool to have steel books like the cover, all that jazz, right? What I love about the streaming services is that I have everything right there. Oh, I want to watch Pinocchio one day, or I want to watch Beauty and the Beast one day. It's right there, right? The danger is, in my opinion, and everybody, you may disagree. That's totally fine. I think there needs to be a law somewhere that keeps companies, any company, Disney, Warner Brothers, Universal, from preventing them if they pull a plug because of licensing or whatever. That people should have the option to be able to download those shows or those movies instead of just losing everything, right?
Yeah.
Because here's the thing. I mean, okay, so for streaming, maybe not so, but if you bought a movie or bought a show, you should be able to own that and keep that. It shouldn't just go away because a company lost the license rights or contracts expire or something. Like if you bought it, you should be able to keep it.
Yeah, I think some of these streamers do offer you that download option, but I've never done it personally, and I don't know how much that costs to do that. Go ahead, George.
Yeah, because it's like a digital library that you kind of hold it permanently. But also, too, there is the upside to having like the DVD, the physical DVD and Blu-ray, because with some of these movies, with the streaming, it's fully in control of what the company wants to keep and take out of particular movies.
Like with Splash, that movie Splash, they ended up putting CGI hair on her, like longer hair to cover her butt, and that was on, I think it was on Disney Plus actually. Now they reverted it back to the original since then. But like, is that what you're talking about? Like shit like that? Where, I don't like them messing with that. I don't like them messing with the movie. Like if it's inappropriate, then put it behind some sort of parental controls or something.
Exactly. Like, why is that so hard, dude? Like stop messing with the original creation of the movie. Like to me, that drives me nuts. I don't care what type of movie it is. If the original creation, leave it alone, man.
Yeah, leave it.
It's like if I want to put it on and look at Daryl Hannah's ass, I want to put it on and look at Daryl Hannah's ass.
There you go. Exactly.
So moving on to Lovelow. Okay, so we actually there's several questions here.
Yeah.
Okay.
And once you hit 7, I have 7, so I'll take it over from there.
You have 7. Cool. Yeah. Okay. Number 1. Do you think Walt has been defied? Is that an I?
Deified.
Deified. Oh, there's an I in there. Okay, deified. Yeah.
Like deify is basically like
worshipping, like like put on a pedestal.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. He has absolutely been, and Disney has garnered a lot of that, fostered a lot of that. You know what I'm saying, with the statues and all around the parks and stuff. And I love Walt Disney. I think he was an incredible human being that we'll never see the likes of again. He was amazing on so many levels. But he is deified, absolutely. I mean, and we have to remember, this was a human being. This guy had flaws, you know what I'm saying? He wasn't perfect, but I think people kind of forget that. What do you think, George?
Yeah, I think a lot of people take him as that, although I know he never saw himself as that, and he never wanted to have that persona, like, while he was around. He always wanted to, be amongst the people and fit in with the people. He always said that it was like... being in the business and the company for so long, like his greatest reward was just getting that approval and love from his fans and from the public eye. That was always his thing. But I mean, us as diehard Disney fans, like no matter how much you shake it, you bake it, you break it, it's, Walt is like the overall champion of like anything that it has been done in not even American pop culture, but just world culture.
No, he changed the world. And he wasn't just good at one thing. He was good at multiple things. He did cartoons. He did animated features. He did live action. He did theme parks. He did even urban design and stuff like that with what he contributed in that realm. It was amazing. There's just so much that Walt Disney did. And it's just incredible. What do you think, Mr. Ebba? Has Walt Disney been deified?
Yeah, I mean he has, but I mean I'll be honest though, I love him, man. Like if it wasn't for him, like we wouldn't us here, we wouldn't probably be friends.
That's true.
And everybody here in the OG community, you guys are awesome. We probably wouldn't be talking because this man created something so special and spectacular, and then and the other companies follow suit, right? But it's like what would we have today if we didn't have theme parks or amusement parks? Like,
Right.
and or Disney itself, I mean, it's so incredible what this one man's mind created, and it's just amazing. I'll always be thankful to him. Now what I do love is like the new statues that they have, right? Like the one in was it Epcot,
Yeah.
right, where he's sitting down. I really love that statue because it shows like when I look at it, as like that he's a man that is kind of like sitting there like happy of his creation of what he can do for families in his parks.
And it's on the crowd level, right? And that's what I love. Yeah, but I'm on the same page with you, brother. Like it's when you can sit next to Walt, right? And you can stand next to him at DCA. And Hong Kong has the one where he's on the bench, and you have the Roy statue with Minnie where they're sitting down. I love that stuff, man. And I think like that's the kind of stuff that like really humanizes Walt more. I think the partner statue, that's the deification.
That's the deification. Yeah,
right.
absolutely.
That's how he feels like, oh, this Greek god, it's like, but I like him down with the people. And I think Walt would prefer that as well,
OG, would you give Walt like a Thor's hammer?
Exactly. Give Thor's mighty hammer.
Well, I have to say though, between both statues, the one like at Disneyland and Magic Kingdom, that's the deification. When he's sitting at Epcot, it's the defecation.
Yeah, right. It looks like he's taking yeah. It does.
I'm sorry, it was right there. I had to.
You took it. George never misses a beat.
Oh, sorry, George. I would say, but you know what though? Like our statue we have here, even though like it has that kind of godly like presence to it, or image, I personally still would, if they wanted to change it, I wouldn't want them to. Personally, I wouldn't want them to change it. I would just want them to leave it as it is because you're preserving like history.
Oh, of course. Yeah, no, I would leave it too. I mean, at this point, it's been there for a long time, and it is actually really pretty. It does frame nicely when you take pictures and stuff of the castle because it's higher up. You get the whole shot. It's nice, you know what I'm saying? But man, I think when they start doing those ground level statues, that's kids, so good, so good.
And then number 2 for Lovelow, how do you think a new Tomorrowland should look? If Main Street USA represents a ton in the 1900s, should Tomorrowland look like a futuristic Main Street?
Oh, that's interesting. Okay.
Oh, Lovelow with the downlow.
No, I like that idea actually, because it's like
I do too, actually.
Yeah, that's interesting, Lovelow.
Well, here's the thing. What if you took that idea, but except for Main Street, you did it for Buena Vista Street? So instead of like the Hollywood like land section, because you still have road right there, what if you turned that into like a futuristic, Buena Vista Street extension?
So in DCA though, like doing it in DCA.
Yeah, because I have thoughts about Tomorrowland for a future thing.
Oh, okay, interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. So, what part would you make futuristic though? Like, like Hollywoodland? You mean when you turn into Hollywoodland, make it futuristic?
Yeah, because you have the trolley, it goes from like the Buena Vista Street and it goes into Hollywoodland, right? If you just like kind of make that like an extension of Buena Vista Street, maybe you can turn that into like a futuristic second part of Buena Vista Street. So you have like the first like early part of it, then you have like the past, then you have the future.
That's interesting. That's also an interesting idea, bro. Because like you're okay, it's a California park, right?
Yeah.
And then you have the past, like you mentioned, right, with Buena Vista Street. But now you're gonna go into Los Angeles in the future.
Yeah.
You're blowing my mind, dude. That's dope. I like that.
What if that is then the approach for Pandora?
Yeah, maybe. Like that's a possibility. Yeah, and actually, speaking of maybe, our friend maybe mentioned that the military Avatar has a lot of military stuff in it. You know what I'm saying? They can go that military route to kind of as a segue from our world into the Pandora. You know what I'm saying? They can theme it to some military base here in California and kind of use that as a gateway into Pandora or something like that.
Yeah, because so like with Rise of Resistance, right? When you get on like the spaceship, you know how you like you watch yourself kind of launching off the planet, right?
Right.
They could probably do something like that where you're like here in a ship and like the story it takes you off Earth and then to Pandora.
Right. Exactly. It'd be pretty cool. What's the next? Oh, go ahead, Eb. I'm sorry.
Oh no, sorry, because I also want to address like Tomorrowland question because I know Level has like some Tomorrowland questions about the future and like why they haven't touched it upon it right now. But I actually want to get into this. So Tomorrowland, right? Well, I want to see from Tomorrowland. Okay, I want to see some stuff where because I know people say, well, if you make it Tomorrowland, it's going to be hard because you don't have to constantly update it because technology is always evolving.
Right.
True, but what I say is take that idea way into the future. Like I'm talking like 100,000 years from now or something. And as Imagineers try to create attractions with the idea of what life and or technology will be like then, and create like a story based around that, right? And then and for architecture, honestly, dude, I think for architecture, again, kind of going back to the theme of the aliens, I think it's going to be very, if like a city, maybe it might be very kind of just plain looking. I know people don't want plain, so theme park you want style, but kind of simple because you're so advanced that we have the tech. Nothing has to be super crazy, architectural wise. But I would love to see like some type of cool like silver and like I don't know, a lot of buildings with cool pointy parts all on top of it. I don't know, but I think the rides themselves, you could have like a really cool idea of like having tech that's so far in the future that that land will have a hard time keeping up with today's current technology.
Like the year 3055 or something crazy.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Way freak out there. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
Yeah. Continuing on with Lovelow. Speaking of Tomorrowland, I wonder why Disney didn't give Tomorrowland a makeover to coincide with the release of the 2015 movie starring George Clooney. Great question, Lovelow. For me, I actually enjoyed that movie. I'm like one of the few people who did.
But would you recommend it?
Yes. Actually, that I actually would recommend. Would recommend that movie. I actually enjoyed it. Is it the best movie? No, but it was very entertaining, but entertaining enough that I would still recommend that movie. I feel like because it wasn't the biggest hit that I think Disney was anticipating, I think they did have the intention of going that route. But because it flopped at the box office, and Disney's like, okay, moving on, we got to come up with another plan.
And that's the thing, like Disney studio live action stuff has been on the struggle bus for a long time. 2015, we're talking about a flop, That's why I'm so glad, and I don't like to see anyone lose their job, but Sean Bailey will be fine. He's a millionaire, you know what I'm saying? I'm glad he left, and we got the Searchlight guy in there now doing his thing, because I think the content is going to be much better. The Disney live action stuff has been struggling for way too long at this point. It needed a shakeup. Go ahead, Ebba.
Yeah, and I don't understand why for so long they were so focused on all these live action remakes for all these fairy tale stories. Like, why are you doing that? Like, I just want to. Here's you have the original story. I just want to enjoy that. Like me, right? They're always changing. Like, okay, guys, I'm gonna say it, right? Hot take. I want to say it. Race swapping, gender swapping. Why are you doing that? Just leave it the way it is, right? The movie was fine. Okay, like I don't want to see like this different version of these like characters or the story. No, I want to see the story for what the story originally was. All right, and I don't know. Again, Orgy, for me, the cartoon has that better kind of fantasy feel to it. Again, kind of back when I was a kid, like I was telling you about. But yeah, like a lot of these live action like fairy tale movies, I haven't really cared about them. I did, however, really enjoyed and loved Pirates of the Caribbean 1, 2, and 3. I love those movies. Those ones are really fun to watch, and they're hilarious.
You mean to tell me you didn't enjoy On Stranger Tides?
No, not at all, dude. That one is dog doo-doo.
Dog doo-doo. Dog doo-doo. No, I just... The live-action Disney stuff, for me, has been really... I mean, there's a few things here and there, but, yeah... They got to work on that. They got to work on that big time. And I want to see more originality,
Yeah.
Yeah, me too.
So.
Definitely. And moving on again with Lovelow. Is it redundant for Disney World to have, to have a Tomorrowland and a Future World? Definitely, Lovelow. And I feel like that's why Disney kind of moved away out of Future World for Epcot and created these it's a neighborhood type of things like with World Celebration, World Nature, World Discovery.
And I know Epcot because I only went. I've gone a couple times now, but it was one visit technically or whatever. But like And I know, to be fair, that whole section of the park, that Future World section, was under construction, you know. But when I was at Epcot, I mean, I was more in love with the World Showcase stuff. Like, I thought that's where Epcot really shines. And well, I love Spaceship Earth too, but I don't know. I think it is redundant though. I think it is. I think it does feel like another Tomorrowland. But the problem too, though, is that how do you completely shift away from that when you have Spaceship Earth right there in the middle of it all, though? Like, can you completely make a shift? It's tough.
Yeah. Well, and with Spaceship Earth, what I loved what they did with that is they take you back into the past to bring you to the future, in a sense. So, like, it's not necessarily, I mean, they can kind of show you, like, moving into the future, but they kind of take you through the origins of history. So you can kind of get away with that notion. But yeah, I think, like, there's a piece of Epcot that will always have that futuristic side. And
It kind of has to, you know.
I wonder if that's even why Tomorrowland is kind of like sitting at the wayside, because again, how much by the time you actually get an original concept of what you could do with Tomorrowland, by the time you actually complete it, then it's going to be outdated, and then you have to reinvent it again. It's like, that's why for me, when you kind of do something with the future, that's where I feel like the black box kind of notion comes in.
And the black box, for those of you at home that don't know, it's more like an attraction that can easily be swapped out or altered. So maybe a lot of projections, a lot of projection mapping, screens, and what have you. So one day it can be a WandaVision ride. The next day it can be a Monsters Inc. ride. You know. So
Yeah.
go ahead, Eb.
Yeah, so I have an idea. What if they made?
I was just Ebbed, as I say in the chat. Just
Heaven. Sorry, I'm sorry, guys. I have
we love it. You're good.
I was gonna say, so I have an idea. What if they made one park that's for like future stuff, right? Like futuristic, and then what if they made one land like Tomorrowland, turn it into like, I don't know, Spaceland or like Galactic Land, like something that's more revolving around space, which does have futuristic components, of course, but it's more space and galaxy galactic themed. Whereas the future is more about like the technology and civilization of society.
Yeah, and I think that's the direction that they've kind of been going in. Like, I think they're going to go with that. Like, I think you're right, Ebba. It's going to be like more space themed, and what they'll do is they'll incorporate IP that fit that space theme. So, you know, we already have Star Tours. You know, who knows? Maybe we'll get a Wall-E ride or something like that. Maybe Tron over there. You know, but at Disneyland. But that's the kind of route they're going to kind of go. Is that kind of like that space and technology sort of angle, and get away from like this is like America in the year XXX. They're not doing that anymore. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
There's no way.
Okay, now OG, really quick. So that was the fourth one from Lovelow. Now there's other people that wrote in there. Should I skip down to Lovelow?
Yeah, you
can't see. Could you see those?
No, I can't see those in between. The first one I see is Lovelow number 7. But like, if they're not all one question, like she's asking multiple questions. If there's other questions in between that,
then just go through that.
Yeah, you can go ahead and answer those.
Okay. So moving along, Kiki and Luca. Question: what do you think Disneyland will look like 300 years from now?
Oh gosh, here's the thing, right? I don't want to be like the doom and gloomer. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to be the doom and gloomer. I don't even think it's going to be around in 300 years. And not look, man, you could hear a pin drop right now. you could hear a mouse pee on a cotton ball. It got so quiet. No, I don't think it's going to be around, because I think entertainment's going to change so drastically and stuff. And I just think that the concept of a theme park you're talking 300 years. I don't know. I don't know if it's still going to be around. I really don't. I hope it is, though. I really do. I hope it is. I don't know. I think that technology is moving so fast, and how we consume entertainment and content is so ever evolving. I don't know if the concept of a theme park is still going to be around. It might, though. We'll see. What do you think, George?
I definitely see like where you're coming from with that, because when you say like into the future, you're talking 300 years. Like
300 years.
We're all going to be gone. Our children's children.
Oh no,
are
George,
be gone.
I'm not going anywhere, man. I drink bone broth and take my vitamin D every single day. I'll be here.
Good.
Wait. Oh, John said you or your hair?
Oh yeah, my hair
Yeah, I mean, I could definitely see technology kind of taking over literally anything physical. Really, honestly, it's almost like would get into the day and age of Wall-E, where it's like computers and robots do everything for us, and we just become, oversized, lazy people just sitting, in our floating recliners, just floating around. I think actually that's going to be like the way of the future, because it's already kind of showing that way.
Yeah. And that's why I'm doubtful it'll still be around, because I don't know if we can experience these things in your own home. You know what I'm saying? Like because you already have stuff like Apple Vision, where like you put goggles on and you can experience all kinds of crazy stuff. And this is new. You know what I'm saying? Like, take that and push it forward even just 50 years. And then now you got to go another 250. Like, you can probably experience, maybe there'll be, like you were saying, George, maybe it'll be a theme park experience, but it's not physical. You're in the digital kind of space, or something. I have no idea. I really do. But I don't know. It's sad to think about, though. I've thought about that a lot, actually, in the past. Like eventually Disneyland's not going to be there anymore. How is that going to go down? Like, what's going to be the thing that, that gets rid of Disneyland? Like, is it going to be the company goes out of business? Is a theme park's not going to be a thing anymore? Like, what's going to be the thing,
Well, I think I think theme parks will still be around, because, I mean, OG, you're right? Like, right now we have stuff like Mario Kart, right? Apple Vision Pro, right? We have stuff already being integrated into attractions now that is technology we didn't have before. And bump it 50 years, 100 years, that's going to get more ingrained. AI is going to become more advanced, and who knows, maybe WDI and other, other people that create attractions are going to realize probably so heavily on AI, because it might be so well developed by that time. But the thing is, like, here's the thing with like VR and AR, that's still, in my opinion, unless there's like a mechanism they can have like create for you for like an actual ride, I don't think there's any way you can replace your body being moved around.
Yeah, well, that's true. That's true.
So you're missing that physicality of the vehicle. And sure, you might have like a VR thing with like kind of like a headset, like where you have like sound coming in your ears. Yeah. But you're missing like all the like kind of surroundness of the audio, in the attraction.
That's true.
And smells, you won't have any smell like Pirates of the Caribbean, the water, right? Everybody loves that. You won't have that in VR.
Unless we can get Disney's like smell scientists to come up with some like virtual smell that
Exactly.
Yeah, I think realistically, unfortunately, like, it's hard to say what it would be like in 300 years, but I mean, personally, in my mind, in George's world, it's like Disney is going to be there like forever and ever and ever and ever.
I want to take a trip to George's world. I want to go to George's world.
Oh man, I don't think the MPA would allow it.
Yeah, probably not.
Yeah, well, it's rated XXXXX.
Oh, don't worry. We have a question about that later on from Bad Thoughts, asking about George's body count.
Jesus God. Oh gosh,
over 9,000.
So Kiki and Luca ask, what's the plan for the D23 get together? Good question. We're still working out the kinks of everything, kind of like laying out the groundwork. We will definitely make that announcement soon once the gang kind of configures a plan. We do have a generalized idea of where the meetup will be. It's probably going to be somewhere in downtown Disney, and we're kind of looking at the new grassy area where they hold like the music bands and everything, because that way it kind of gives us a lot of space and room depending on who would love to come and join us. Exactly,
and then it bypasses the what's it called? The reservation thing. You know what I'm saying? Because not everyone can get reservations. You know what I'm saying? So I don't want to make when we do this meetup, I don't want people to be limited to like, you know, oh, I'm blocked out that day. So if we do downtown Disney, no worries at all. You know what I'm saying? We're good to go. So yeah, we'll do that. But we will be actually making a video. Like we're not going to just drop this information like in a live show, like buried in like 3 hours of footage or whatever. Like we'll make a video dedicated just to you know, the meetup with what, you know, the plan is, all that good stuff. And I'll also share it on, you know, Twitter. So absolutely.
And we are very much looking forward to it. As I said, OG55 crew is going to be out there for D23. We're going to do our first OG55 meetup. You know, as I said, once we lay out those plans for you, we'll definitely let you know. And we would love to have every single person who can join us come along, and we're going to have a good time.
Yep, absolutely. And the first round of beers is on me.
And let's have like 200 people standing in the grass.
Oh, she's like, okay, he's my card.
Here we go.
Okay. Kiki and Luca continue. Have you tried the Disney dating sites? Your thoughts? I actually have. Yes, I've tried several, and I really hate to say this, I really do, but I don't even think a lot of them are like, some of them actually seem like they're fake accounts, or these are people that actually belong on milk cartons. Like, it's like, I don't like, it seems like kind of sketchy to me, so to speak.
See, I'm old school. Like, I'm not a dating app kind of guy. Like, I'd rather, like, if I want to talk to somebody, I'm not shy, I'll go talk to them. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not a shy person. Or if I meet someone like in, like, okay, Disney dating app. Like, but if you're in the Disney community, you meet fellow Disney fans just in the community already. So it's like, you're right, George. Like, do you need an app to, like, meet a Disney fan? Like, I'm around Disney fans all the time.
I mean, I used a dating website to, that's how I actually met my ex, you know, and it's like, yeah, now I see your point why it wouldn't work. Yeah, and it's like,
right, there you go.
But yeah, but I completely agree. And honestly, for me, as I said, I'm still single. I'm definitely into mingle.
Putting it out there.
I'm just putting it out there. Hey, if you know anybody, I'm just saying, because as I said, it definitely has to be someone who loves Disney, who is like invested in it. Because as I said, I really don't feel like doing that full on training bullshit ever again. Like, I'm done. Like, you have to be into Disney, otherwise, like.
And you can see down below, you can call George.
Yes.
That's great. That's so great.
I hope that's not a real number.
Yes.
I hope has that number.
This is the Citrus hotline.
Exactly. But what about you, Eva? Would you ever dip your toe into the Disney dating app scene? You're married.
I'm married, exactly. Yeah. I'm married, yeah. But actually, you know,
okay, if you were single.
He wouldn't be dipping his toe. He'd be dipping in something else.
I think we all know what that is.
Oh man. What's the next question?
But really quick. So overall, as far as like the Disney dating sites, OG, I'm guilty.
You're guilty. You're right.
Guilty.
You are so guilty. Yeah, I missed my. Here we go. Guilty. There we go. I love that. I love how Family Guy, what they do so brilliantly is how they go on for way too long. It's like uncomfortable almost.
Yeah,
it's like really, like, how long is this like gonna go on for? And it's like, that's what makes it so great. I love it. Kiki and Luca continue. If you had kids, how often would you take your kids to Disneyland?
Okay, here is it's kind of a controversial kind of take, I think, you know. Ooh. I've kind of said many times that I think some fans go too much, you know what I'm saying? Because I think when you go too much, it kind of becomes like going to the mall, and it loses. It's not the same dopamine hit, you know what I'm saying? And you start to become a little bit like, you know, bored and kind of like nitpicky and stuff like that. So I would take my kids. Obviously, I'm going to raise my kids at Disney because I love this stuff. But I wouldn't go like multiple days a week. I wouldn't take my kids that much. I really wouldn't. It would be every now and then, maybe once every couple or a few months or something like that. But I don't want them going too much where they're like, Dad, I hate this. You take me all the time on board. I don't want them to hate it. You know what I'm saying? Right. You got to space stuff out a little bit, in my opinion. So what about you, Ebba?
No, I 100% agree, because actually I was talking to you, OG, and George, you as well, that so when I was going to Disneyland, when I had my Magic Key, just because for everyone to know, I had a Magic Key, but I let it lapse for a few reasons. But the thing is like that, I was going to.
He's like, fuck you, Disney.
You give him the double barrel.
All right.
You ever watch the John Campea at Disneyland rants?
Yes, dude, they're hilarious. Dude, like he's so sour about that, bro. It's so funny.
So those of you at home that do not know, John Campea, I think it was last year, he tried to get into Galaxy's Edge, Rise of the Resistance, and Web Slingers. And I guess he didn't know you needed a boarding group or something. This is maybe even more than a year ago. I don't know.
Out of all the people that couldn't get it had to be him.
I'm telling you, he comes back on his show and he goes off. I'm telling you, double barrel, he's literally cussing out Disney.
Yeah.
I'm sure they took him off the media list after that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But you know what's funny though? It's his wife still goes.
Oh really? She still goes?
Yeah, she still goes, but not him.
She probably went to Disney and said, "I wear this ring, but we're not committed."
It's all good. Yeah, because remember, he promised he's never going back.
Yeah, he did. He's because he's always saying "F you Disneyland" constantly. So he's never going back at all.
Yeah.
But so even for me, right? I was going 2 to 3 times a month, and I live an hour away, and even that, especially with the whole reservation theme. There was a certain point where I was kind of feeling burnt out, actually, and it's crazy because I never thought I would feel like that, right? I love Disneyland, I love going, right? It's so much fun, and it is. But when I have to kind of force myself to go, because I have to make sure I don't get dinged on my reservation, which I actually did 2 or 3 times, and I actually got blocked for 30 days because I was just too tired to go. I didn't feel like going, and it's you go there, and it's okay. Now I have to make sure I kind of get my day's worth because of my reservation. I'm tired. I need to make sure I do this. And it's you start to kind of notice things you never noticed before. For example, if you're there a lot, you see stuff breaking down more or see more kind of dirtier things more, right? That you never would really see if you went there maybe, say, every 3 months or whatnot, right? So as I was growing up and getting older, going to the parks more, I'm I don't remember seeing this breaking down as much. I don't remember seeing this being that dirty as much or whatnot, right? And it's am I going more often or stuff breaking more often? So it kind of really dilutes your experience.
Oh, big time. When I went to Walt Disney World for the first time, it was I didn't notice any of the stuff that the locals complain about over there. You know what I'm saying? I didn't because I was too, it's so overwhelming just being there for the first time. I'm not paying attention to that light bulb and the little scratch on the paint here and there. Nah, dude, but when you go 2 and 3 days a week, you're bored. You're sitting there, you're looking around, you're oh, okay, yeah, light bulb's burnt out. You know what I'm saying? But when you're there for the first time or something, you don't notice any of that stuff.
Exactly. And also too, especially having a kid, right? If you're taking them so much, I really think, in my opinion, that would kind of give them kind of a privileged type of attitude, probably, where they're not really thankful that they're that close to the park and that they can go that often to where other families or kids can't.
Right. Yeah, no, exactly. There comes a point where it's not a special thing. There's not that oh my God, I'm at Disneyland. You family from Ohio, for example, right? To Disneyland for the first time, and it's oh my God, we're here. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You have a Southern California local where the kid's 9 years old and has already gone 1,000 times.
Yeah.
It's a whole different mindset,
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
now we have Suave CLT. What Disney character what Disney character do you think you could do the best impression of? My friend can do an amazing Napoleon from Aristocats.
Oh, interesting.
Can
That's
either one of
interesting.
you do a Disney character impression?
Here, I'll do a Goofy. Hold on. Tell me how I do. Okay, I'll do a
Okay.
Goofy. How was that? How was that? Pretty good. Pretty good.
Now
Hey,
it's A plus.
Yes.
There we go. There we go. How about you guys?
For me, now I used to do this character before I like hit full on puberty, so bear with me if it doesn't sound. But I used to be able to do a really good Stitch. Let me see if I
Here we
still
go.
can.
Here we go.
See if
Hey,
I
this
still
is gonna
got-
be so good. It's gonna get us copyrighted. That's how
Yes.
authentic this is gonna be.
Let's see if I still. Let's see. Ohana means family, and family means nobody gets left behind. Together, Krista!
That's good.
Wow.
That's good. That's
okay.
good, George. That's good. Emma, you got to follow that act. Can you do it?
Oh my god, no. I cannot, bro. I cannot.
Here, Eb and I will. We can do Mickey, right? We can do Mickey.
Okay, yeah.
can stop us now.
There we go. There we
Woo!
go.
Oh boy.
Oh,
that
there
was
you
good.
go.
That was good. That was good. That was very good.
Yes. I could usually do Mickey at times, especially if she's squeezing a little bit tighter than usual. You know, I can hit those,
Yeah, exactly.
hit those high notes.
Yeah. Is that you, George?
That's
Wait, what's your hot take? Is that pleasure
those
or
high
pain,
notes?
dude?
sometimes you can never tell the difference.
Oh my god. That is
shit.
disaster.
That's great. That's great. I'm sorry, man.
And then this isn't a question, but I just have to give a shout out to Kaylee. She says, oh, I'm sorry. This is actually a question. Pardon me. Sorry. Do any of y'all remember Bountiful Valley Farm?
The Bountiful Valley Farm. I do. I remember the tractor and the little gardens. It was cute, but it was such a waste of space, though, wasn't it?
Yeah. I just have to laugh because her and I had a conversation about this, and I couldn't I didn't know like too much of it because this was still part of like DCA 1.0. And it was like I asked her. I said, "Is it Bountiful Valley Farm or is it farms? Is it plural or is it single?" And she said, "No, it's just farm." And I don't know how we were getting on the subject matter, and she said, "I don't know." She says the word bountiful, like she said, I could just see you like utilizing that word, and it's like that's like became like part of a Georgism because I have like a whole bunch of different Georgisms. Yeah.
You gotta start incorporating that more into your vocabulary. You know.
Yeah, I do. As I
Bountiful.
said, my bountiful. Yes, I'm having a very bountiful day today. So.
There you go. There you go. Absolutely. Next question on the books.
Next question on the books. Back to Lovelow. Going back to my second question about Tomorrowland. I once made a comment on one of Bricky's videos about an idea I had about for a speculative evolution post-human themed Tomorrowland.
Post-human.
Post-human.
So
That's interesting. So like,
it's like androids or like
yeah, like AI or some crazy shit. You know. That's kind of
That's
wild. That's a fascinating idea. Like, because you can that's a little dystopian, though. I think
Yeah, I don't know if that would. I mean, it's very interesting.
No, it's fascinating, but I don't know if for like a castle park they would go that route because that would be a little bit dark.
Yeah. Let's see. Where the cast members would wear makeup and prosthetics to look like evolved humans / aliens. And the architecture would look very organic.
That's cool.
Let's see. There's a sci-fi book called Man After Man, which is about how animals might evolve in the future. There's also another book called Darwin 4. You can look it up to see what I'm imagining. Interesting.
Interesting.
so
Okay.
so yeah, like so just kind of go off this, right? I'm wondering, like, let's say in 1,000 years, right? Because I know we talk about 300 years, but let's talk about 1,000 years. What will humans look like? Will we have more like cybernetic like machinery on us, attached to us? Will we live longer because let's say we have the tech to now place our consciousness into like another like kind of cybernetic body or like another body that works
Well, that's
properly?
interesting.
So Go ahead.
No, you're right. Because our lifestyle has changed too, right? So when we like years and years and years ago, we hunted for our food and things like that, right? So our bodies evolve based on having to do these things. But as we have entered the modern age, we do a lot more sitting, right, and stuff like that. I wonder if our bodies are going to sort of evolve like in other directions now, because we're not doing the hunting thing. We're not as active as we were before. You know what I'm saying?
Right. And I think that's where having like a external type of like like machinery attached to you or whatnot will kind of help fix that problem, because like let's say we evolve to be slower, we're fatter, whatever, right? We're dumber or something, right? We have the aid of technology and science and technology to keep us actually even more advanced than we currently are today. Like super strength, we're faster, we can jump higher. We have like computer intellect into our brains, all this kind of crazy stuff.
Yeah. No, that's wild. That's wild. Yeah. Actually, in taking your consciousness and putting it into like a robot body or something,
Yeah.
that's a dope concept, and you can live forever, basically.
That's mind blowing. That is mind
literally mind blowing.
Mind blowing, yes.
All right.
Literally.
And then, hey kids, coming from Mr. Theme Park Casual.
Yes, Mr. Casual.
Casual.
He was listening on the drive home.
Cool.
So unless he is still stuck in that California traffic, or he's home.
Exactly. Yeah, that was, I think, a while ago. I think it's when we kind of first started.
Yeah, that was so I'm assuming he's back home now. And then next one is coming from Teo. Do you guys ever see yourself moving into a story living community in the future?
Oh, I don't know about that. I mean, they look nice, for sure, but I don't know. I'm not really into the story living thing.
Yeah.
Like,
see, because that's where I have like the issues with Galaxy's Edge. It's like I don't want to go in, if that's what it is. Like I don't need like a storyline.
Yeah, it's weird.
Type of
do
thing,
they do that
mean?
with story living? Is it a lot of like is there like stuff like that, or is it just basically like
I don't know if it's like where you get like a lot of role play type thing, but I think like it's a lot of like overall, I'm assuming what it is, like overall just theming. See, but if I have that in my home, then it feels less special when I go on vacation.
Yeah.
I don't think I would want that 24/7. That's like me going to the parks every single day. It's like
that's what I'm saying.
You get burnt out.
You get burnt out, man. It's like I like burritos, I like tacos, but if I have it every single day,
well,
yeah, that's good. Yeah, that's exception. That's exception. I can eat that every single day. But
How about you, Ebbs?
I mean, definitely I can have pie every day. I mean, we all know, right? Like,
bro, did that apple pie I had at the freaking Wizarding World, was that like not amazing, dude? I'm still thinking about that pie. It was
wait. Oh, OG, not that pie, brother. Not that pie. But no, you're right. I mean, that pie did look good. Like, cause you ate the whole that entire thing.
Dude, it was so bomb.
But regarding to the story living thing, here's the thing. I think it's cool. I think it's kind of what George is saying. Like in my idea, it's kind of like a themed like Disney community. That's what I'm interpreting it as. But I don't really know if that's what it is, how well themed it's going to be. Is it going to be like your entire house is like decorated of like everything Disney, of like, I don't know, Jungle Book and Winnie the Pooh or something like that? Like, I'm not sure how that's going to look like, or even what the purposes of this thing really is.
Right.
But I mean, if I had to live there, I mean, honestly, I think I'd be cool with it. Honestly.
I mean, they're nice. The houses look really nice and everything. It's not like a bad place to live, yeah. But if they incorporate a lot of this weird, like what George was saying, like with the Galactic Star Cruiser, like this kind of storytelling stuff, you're like, I don't know, that can get annoying, I think.
Yeah. Well, that's why also I didn't want to go to the cruise. One, too expensive for only 2 days or 2 nights. That's too expensive for my pocketbook. And two, I'm not trying to LARP, guys. I'm sorry. I want to go there and have like a Star Wars kind of themed like hotel or whatever. But I'm not trying to play, Jedi and whatnot and have you like no.
No. If I'm on vacation, I want to chill. I'm not trying to do all that. Oh, we got the one and only, Mr. Seymour Duck in the house. Mr. Seymour Duck is family here at the channel. We're actually gonna do a video with Seymour very, very soon about this Nelson Peltz thing, which is very, very interesting. Matt Bellani dropped some interesting information in regards to Nelson Peltz's plan and how it might not be the masterclass, top-notch plan that some people think it is. It's actually actually plagiarized, believe it or not. But Seymour Duck and I will definitely talk about that along with Mr. Italiano. But go ahead, George. Before I
no, I was just going to say, Seymour, thank you so much, brother. We always appreciate you. You know, you're part of the family. You know, huge contributor to the channel, and to that 133 page of Nelson Peltz. Hey, we could always use more toilet paper.
Yeah, exactly. But Mr. Duck here says for the food. Thank you so much, Seymour. We appreciate you so much, and yeah, we're gonna have Seymour on very, very soon.
Seymour, dude, I love Seymour, man. He's so intelligent. This guy, like, I love it. Like, I wish I could do do this stuff how he does it. I can't. You know, he's great.
No, he's great. He's really, really good. He knows his stuff. It's always a lot of great insight, and I like to hear his perspective. I'm honestly, I mean, you know, a full disclosure, I'm not super versed in like financials like that. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So to have Seymour on there and kind of go through it with us like that and really break it down, it's fun. It's fun to learn about it. It's fun to hear that, you know, that angle, and yeah. So look for that very, very soon. And we got a little glimpse of the Cheeto pants just now, Eva.
Hold on. Woo!
There we go. We got the Cheetos.
Yes,
that's
sir.
Awesome, bro.
Yes. That's great.
Look at that.
That's great.
Look at that. Go ahead, George.
Okay. Brandon Bushnell is asking, as Disneyland Forward progresses, do you see Disney buying existing Anaheim hotels and retheming Disney? I guess retheming them to Disney. Disney needs more than 3 hotels in California.
Okay, here's my thing with that. I hope they don't buy existing hotels and retheme them. I hope they buy them and bulldoze them and then build like from the ground up Disney hotels. You know what I'm saying? And I'll even go a bit further. I hope they bulldoze. Oh man, I hate saying this because I always get shit for it, but it's how I feel. So I'm going to tell you, you know, I would even be fine with them bulldozing the Disneyland hotel and rebuilding it. You know what I'm saying? I think those buildings look very dated, you know, and they've kind of polished it up and they've, you know, spruced it up or whatever, but they still look old to me. Bulldoze it and get like a Grand Floridian style hotel there, just like a dope Disney hotel from the ground up. That's how you do it, Disney, you know? But yeah, I don't want them retheming existing hotels, you know? Buy those hotels, bulldoze them, and build your own Disney hotel.
Do you think to the question, do you think so they need more than 3?
Oh, I don't think they need, no. Well,
if they build a third park.
If they build a third park, you would need maybe 4, right? Emma, what do you think?
Yeah, I think so. Definitely.
Yeah, but I don't think you need.
I think of where the resort stands now, I think 3 is plenty. But yeah, if you with Disneyland Forward to expand out Disneyland and DCA, and then add in a second Downtown Disney and a third gate, definitely, I'd say like several more should do.
Yeah. OG, I'm with you, brother. Like, get rid of those Disneyland hotels. Like, they're kind of ugly to look at.
Ugly, yeah.
I want something new, fresh. So
yeah, so fresh and so clean. You know what I'm saying? So fresh and so clean. What's the next question?
Next, going back to Lovelow, have any of you seen Dune Part 2? If you have, what did you think? I've seen some people call it a Star Wars killer.
Yeah, no, I've heard that too, actually. No, I haven't seen it. I want to see it. I heard amazing things from it.
Same here.
Yeah, so I'm down to see it for sure. So we'll see. People say too, like I've heard a lot of people, complain the first movie is really boring, and I kind of agree. The first movie was kind of boring, but they say even if you think the first movie's boring, the second one is like crazy good. So
that was me. I thought I watched it right because I was trying to get into something that I had no clue about. I did like the concepts where they had like. It was future, like kind of tech, right? But some of like these societies, they had kind of like medieval type of like costume wear. I thought that was pretty interesting. But yeah, the story didn't really do much for me. I was actually kind of bored, honestly, throughout the first movie. But I do want to check out the second one just to actually finish off the story. And yeah, I've heard it's really good. So yeah, I'm definitely down to go see it.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Coming from Trey Porter, if you drink,
Porter.
what's your drink of choice?
Oh, Trey Porter. Okay. My drink of choice. I'm kind of a simple guy. Like, I like beer, to be honest. Like when I went to Wizarding World with this guy down here.
Yes,
What did I
sir.
get? I got a beer. Now at Universal, it'll cost you. That draft was like $20. You know what I'm saying? and it landed in my lap, so it was a total waste of money. But I'm kind of like, I like beer. But I'll even like red wine. I like. I like the mixed drinks at Disneyland Resort, like the Black Pearl is a good one.
Mm-hmm.
The problem with those though,
It hits you, man.
it hits you. It hits you. I get way too drunk on those, and I feel really crappy the next day. So I keep it a little safe now. I do like the beer thing. Glass of wine, that's cool. But the mixed drinks, whatever reason, they nail me every time.
Yeah, I do like my beer. I like different varieties of beer. I like a more smoother kinds of beer. I do love wine. Red wine with steak, white wine with pasta.
Yeah. I was gonna say something. Go ahead, and I'll tell you.
Okay. The mixed drinks that OG was saying at Disney. I also do enjoy a Long Island iced tea. Again, you got to be very careful with those because you don't really taste it until you stand up and you're like, whoa.
Yeah, no, I know. It's crazy. Yeah, any kind of like remember that day we did the New Year's Eve show, the live show?
Yes.
We played the drinking game.
Yes.
And I was taking shots of soju. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
See, even that, bro. Like I would full disclosure, everybody. Like there was a point in that show where I was gonna message George, be like, "You're gonna have to take over." Like I couldn't even the room was spinning, dude, spinning.
But I can't believe you bounced back faster than David Caruso's career. Like it was.
I tell you, man, my liver is no joke, dude. It gets in there and just handles it. You know what I'm saying? Every time, just handles it. Every single time. What about you, Ebba? What's your beverage of choice, good sir?
So if we're talking about like alcoholic drinks, for everybody in chat, I'm not really a drinker. I don't really like to get drunk or tipsy or anything like that. I don't actually like the feeling of it. And so like, well, OG likes beer. I don't like beer. If I'm going to drink something, I want something to be sweet. So
Okay.
I like cocktails or like Tokyo teas, kind of stuff like that, or like I guess Trulies, what have you. But it has to be sweet though. I don't like the taste of beer. I don't like tequila or vodka. None of that stuff. So I don't drink to like get drunk. I'll have like a drink or two because I like the flavor. I want to hang out with my buddies. But generally, I stay away from drinking. Personally, but like when me, OG, and George and Mindy went to Disneyland, I went and had a drink with them, right?
You did,
because my buddies are gonna have a drink, But on a day-to-day basis, I'm not really a drinker. But if I am, it's gonna be something that's sweet.
There you go. Makes sense.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
This is an OG question coming from Florentine.
Okay.
How did you get into K-pop?
Oh, okay. This is interesting. Funny story, actually. So, a friend of the channel, Theme Park Wizard, right? I was trying to make, how we do, we have our like little drops here for like, friends and family of the channel. We have our maybe drop and we have, right? We drop. So I was actually making one for Theme Park Wizard, and Wizard, he's always like told me like he's into Rosé in Blackpink. That was like, he likes her, right? So when I was going in to make a drop for Theme Park Wizard, I was going to incorporate some rosé stuff. Well, in my research for the Wizard drop, I'm going through all this Blackpink stuff, and I'm like, I totally forgot about the drop, and I was like, I love this music. I absolutely love this groove, and I got hooked on them. Absolutely hooked on them. So I became an instant like Blackpink fan, like crazy fan. And then now I'm kind of branching off into other groups too, because a lot of these K-pop groups, there's so many out there that are fantastic. So I also listen to aespa. I like LE SSERAFIM. G Idol is a good one. I'm actually new to G Idol, very new to G Idol, but they're good. So that's kind of how I kind of got started into it. And it was kind of recently, to be honest with you. I think I kind of discovered Blackpink back in like June or July this past summer.
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's kind of how I got into it. But I'm telling you, man, I used to kind of poo-poo this stuff like, oh, K-pop, I'm not going to want it. Like, why would I like K-pop? I don't speak Korean, and it's going to be like a bunch of like Korean like slow jams and things like that. I don't speak Korean. Why would I care? I poo-pooed it for years. I'm telling you, I listened to Blackpink. I was in there. And a lot of these groups are super, super creative. We actually have a couple of reaction videos on the channel if you want to check them out. But they're, in my opinion, way more creative than a lot of the American music artists and stuff like that. They produce a lot of great stuff. And so, yeah, I'm a K-pop fan for sure. Absolutely. George is not a K-pop fan, but he is a Yeonjun fan.
I am. Yes, I am. Very much so. Yeah. I actually got, and this was before, little did I know that she was part of LE SSERAFIM, that it was the new song that just came out this past February. She did a duet song with Max, who the name of the song is called "Stupid in Love." And I absolutely love that song, and it's like when I heard her vocals, I was like, oh man, like I want to know more about her. So then I researched her, and then up pops LE SSERAFIM. So I started listening to their music, and I thought, okay, so I'm like really getting into this group. And I text OG like, okay, I think I'm starting to get into K-pop a little bit. And I was like, I'm listening to this group LE SSERAFIM, and me thinking like I'm telling him something new and everything. He's like, oh yeah, I love that group. I'm like, I should have known.
Yeah. Well, for those of you that watch the channel, the gal that he's talking about is actually our outro to the channel.
Yes.
That's Yeonjun.
Yes.
Yep, absolutely. But,
Yes.
K-pop, amazing stuff. Check it out at home. You can always DM me if you want any suggestions as to where to start off. But they do amazing stuff. They really, really do.
Absolutely. This is coming from Coaster Crash. Hey guys, with the D23 event this year having a segment dedicated to Tiana's Bayou Adventure, and Keith David will be attending, do you guys think Dr. Facilier will be featured in the ride?
Here's the thing. I've been telling people this right now. I think that Bruce Vaughn came in, right? He came in the middle of the Disneyland one. They didn't even start the construction on Disneyland's Tiana's Bayou Adventure when Bruce Vaughn was on here and when we came back. They've heard the outcry about the lack of Facilier. I wouldn't write it off completely.
I wouldn't either.
I wouldn't write it off completely. I don't know. I think maybe they'll figure a story way around it to bring them in there. I don't know.
Honestly, the most simplest, easiest route that they ever could have went is like when you're climbing that final lift hill and you just get all the colors and you get that bum, 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 bum. Are you ready? It's like that's what you want to hear. You want to get that build up anticipation. I don't want to see Mama Odie's old fucking wrinkly ass going up the hill. Like I want Dr. Facilier. I want to get like that. I want that adrenaline pumping.
Yeah,
Dude.
I think the lift hill.
No hate to Mama Odie. I think she's a really cool character, but I mean, I don't think that's the character that you would anticipate on that final lift hill.
Yeah, what do you think, Eva?
Okay. So the easiest thing they could have done, and I don't know why they didn't, is they could have just done you ride through the story. It's simple, it works. I don't know why, Disney, you did not do this, okay? It's the simplest thing, the easiest thing to do, and you would have saved like the energy and time and the anger of people yelling at you about this. So I don't know why, but if you have him in the ride for Disneyland, I will of course love you even more. But because he should be in this attraction, and here's the thing, this attraction should not be, in my opinion, a sequel to the movie. You want to have a sequel, fine, make another movie, make Disney Plus, whatever. But don't tie attractions to like like movie or show stories as like part of the timeline, like Star Wars or something. Like, don't tie it to that. We're in a theme park, right? So I just want to go through the story of Princess and the Frog. I want to see all the characters from there.
No, that's fair, and that's a complaint a lot of people have.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm open to this attraction. Like I think that people are going to be pleasantly surprised. I think it's gonna be a lot better than people think it's gonna be. But I can understand that complaint though. Like, I just want to go in there and experience the movie that I love.
I mean, because here's the thing, and this also brings back to the point. And I also believe like that, you know, a theme park casual. Shout out to him, love you, man. You know, like that. Why is this princess movie on a thrill ride attraction? Like, do you think it should have been on a more, you know, standard dark ride attraction? Because like, you know, like the whole like height restriction and all that, right?
So people say that, and I respectfully disagree because, okay, for example, we were just at Universal, right? I think Harry Potter has a younger demographic too. You know what I'm saying? It's a kind of a younger franchise with the books and all that, right? Not to say everyone can't be into it. Everyone can, but like it's like the princess thing. Like, you know, we can like a princess movie, but it's tailored mostly for the younger demo. Harry Potter, I think, is kind of similar. It's a younger demo, and that ride has a height requirement. A lot of the Harry Potter stuff is like thrilling stuff. Yeah. But it's a kind of a younger franchise, and they have height requirements. So I don't think that's a big deal. I think that you can have a princess ride with a height requirement, like Potter has one. George, I know something's on your mind. What do you think?
I can kind of see it like both ways. You know, I think there shouldn't really be any kind of like restriction, like to say like because it's based off of a princess movie, you know, you can't have a thrill ride. I do get the notion that, you know, for younger little kids who do love the Princess and the Frog, who do love Tiana, that if they're just, you know, too, you know, small to be able to go on it, you know, or if they're not into a thrill ride, you know, then you can kind of have that thing. But then I would kind of say, you know, if Disney wanted to kind of play that catch-22, then maybe also have another kind of Princess and the Frog ride that can kind of go for the younger demographic until they get a little older to do the Tiana's Bayou Adventure.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting. Go ahead, Ebba. I'm sorry.
Yo, sorry, OG. Sorry, everybody. I'm so sorry. I'm cutting these guys off. I do apologize.
No, you're good. You're good.
I'm so excited. But yeah, I just think this.
Yeah, Shine. Fine. Shit. Whatever.
but yeah, guys, I just think that just would have been the easiest solution. You know, do the movie. Yeah, I love the movie. I love the characters. And then we have is it Ray the Firefly? Is that what his name is?
Yeah.
You know, and like obviously we know what happens to him, so he won't be in the sequel ride. And like this whole mine thing, I'm not interested in that. Like, I'm sorry, I'm not. You know, I want to see Princess and the hero versus the villain. You know, I want to see. You know, are you ready? I want to see his friends from the other side. I think that would have looked so cool, like with today's technology. You know, like all the shadow, you know, creatures and stuff. That would have been so cool.
Yeah, no, absolutely,
yeah, that absolutely awesome. And Fiji93 is what would George do if Joe Rohde flew in on a Banshee to announce Avatar at D23? Well, Fiji93, I have to say, just make sure you bring in an extra pair of pants.
Yeah. George will be in the bathroom wringing out his underwear, right? You're just like getting way too excited, George. Way too excited.
And it's actually funny with that question, Fiji93, because we were actually talking about that, and it did come to my mind of thinking that, you know, that would be an awesome surprise for us Disney fans, that they have us in the Honda Center, and they're talking about the Avatar land, you know, and what, you know, we're expecting and everything, and kind of throwing a little bit of a comparison to the one in Animal Kingdom, and then bringing up Joe Rohde of how his contributions to the land and how he works simultaneously with James Cameron and John Landau to create, you know, the attractions and the land itself and what have you. And they said, it's just a shame that we don't have Joe Rohde working on Disneyland's Pandora. And then all of a sudden, Rohde walks out on stage. I guarantee you, I think honestly the arena would erupt with applause and everyone would be out of their seats clapping. I mean, that's how you obtain a crowd's attention.
Yeah, yeah. And it wouldn't surprise me. Like, I mean, look, I'm not saying it's going to happen, but Rhodey is very passionate about that project. And if they're doing another one, and it looks like they are, and they might even do more than one, because even Iger was hinting at overseas too. You know what I'm saying? So I wouldn't be surprised if Rhodey comes back. And you say, and if I was Daddy Josh, I'm saving that. I'm saving that news, and I bring him out on the D23 stage, and the crowd would go nuts.
Oh, I would do for sure. And here's the thing, it's like that. Bob Iger is already bringing people back. So who's to say he can't bring back Joe Rhodey?
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yep, exactly. Kaylee here said the show was going to go till midnight. No, I know. No, we're actually, I'm going to have to cut it off in about 10 or 15 because I actually have to give my dog his medicine. Yes. So I can't go for too much longer, unfortunately. But it's been a really awesome chat.
So we'll go as long as we possibly can. If you had any questions that we may not get to, we definitely apologize. If you could actually remember them and take them down, put them back into our next live because we'll definitely get to them for sure. Yeah,
and we'll have a live very, very soon.
And honestly, we really do appreciate from all of you because, I mean, the fact that we can't even get through all your questions really shows of how invested you are in the channel, in the live, in the content that we produce. So honestly, thank you to everyone who has contributed to all our lives. Our lives and our lives. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. But the crazy thing too, when we started these live shows like years ago, like we were like struggling, like because we didn't have any questions. We would do a Q&A and there'd be like 3 comments, you know? It was like, and now we have all these comments, all these questions. It's amazing. We love you guys. We love you guys.
Everybody, thank you so much. You guys are amazing. The community is amazing. You know, you guys are what makes this right here. So thank you so much.
Yes.
Absolutely.
So now, Lovelo, this is number 7, OG. So
that's
you'll be.
Me. Here we go. We're caught up again. We're caught up. Lovelo, number 7. If Disney ever bought Hasbro, I hope they put Beast Wars ride. Ooh, that's interesting. And maybe Beast Wars, and maybe a My Little Pony ride in Animal Kingdom. What do you think?
Beast Wars, I am so for it. My Little Pony, turn that to glue.
Turn it to glue. Full disclosure, in the 80s when I was a kid, I used to like My Little Pony.
Really? So no, because honestly, OG, I have to admit, I like the Care Bears. Honestly,
yeah, me too.
I love the Care Bears.
I was a Care Bears guy. Yeah, I like Care Bears, My Little Pony. But I like the guy. Like I was all in Transformers and He-Man and Silverhawks as well. I was just like a total.
Oh my god! Like that brought me back when he mentioned Beast Wars, or she mentioned. Excuse me, Beast Wars.
But Beast Wars is Transformers, though, right?
It's a form of Transformers, but yeah, like it's like a. I can't explain it. Like it's part of Transformers, but yet they have like their own. I don't know. It's hard to explain, but man, I was a huge Beast Wars fan.
Yeah. Seymour says OG is a brony. Seymour, I'm telling you, I was a brony. I was a brony back then in the 80s. When I was a kid, I used to love My Little Pony.
My Little Pony.
Yeah, it's crazy. But I was just an 80s kid in general, like He-Man, all the 80s stuff I was into. But none of it was Disney. That's the thing that's weird too. Like in the 80s, Disney wasn't really doing that well. You know, not really until we hit like Little Mermaid in the late 80s, you know? Yeah, my fandom when I was like a kid, like elementary school, was all the non-Disney stuff, you know?
Yeah.
So, it's wild. What about you, Ebba? What do you think about this? My Little Pony, brother?
So I would say you could, so here's the thing. I was never into My Little Pony and I didn't watch Beast Wars, but I'm looking up at it now. It looks pretty dope. You could actually, why not have both, right? You can have one like kind of like little kiddie attraction for My Little Pony or something, and then you can have like an awesome like I don't know e-ticket ride or something akin to like Transformers at like Universal, right? With that, I think that'd be really cool.
Yeah, that'd be dope. That'd be really, really dope. Let me see. Actually, I think we're gonna be wrapping it up now because we're hitting that 3-hour mark, and I gotta go handle my little doggy. But amazing live show today, everybody. I want to thank everybody in the chat. Maybe Kaylee, Fiji93, Girly Nerd, Seymour Duck, Mr. Seymour Duck, Florentine, Michael Madsen, Ryan Turner, Starship 824, Cliffix. I don't know if you're still here, but Cliffix, Theme Park Casual, Kiki and Luca, of course, Love Low. Thank you, everybody, for joining us today. Again, if we didn't get to your question today, we will definitely have another live show very, very soon. We do these live shows all the time. So we'll definitely have another one very, very soon. But we're going to close this out. I'm going to start off with the Joe Pesci, the Italiano of Diz YouTube. Right here, George.
Thank you. You could find me on X, formerly known as Twitter, at Disney George. You could also find me on Instagram under the Disney Italiano. And of course, you'll find me here on my home base at Orange Grove 55 with Citrus Corner with all that sweet, juicy, but sometimes sticky Disney news and info.
And George, you are so good with these outros. You make it look easy, my friend.
Oh,
There you go. Easy peasy. And we got Emma down here. Emma, are you gonna let him outshine you, man? You gotta make it look easy. Go ahead, let him
make it look easy, bro.
Where can they find you on social media, Mr. Emma?
Of course, OG, George, thank you so much for having me on. And everybody in chat, thank you so much for joining. This was a blast. It was so much fun. We love you guys. So
Yes.
you can find me on
Hard
Instagram.
hands for everybody. Hard hands for everybody.
Hard hands. So you can find me on Instagram at Michael Ebba, and then also on Twitter /X at Michael Ebba 1991. And you can also find me here on OG55, where I hang out with these beautiful gentlemen. That's
Yes. Ebba, always good to see you. And you did make it look easy. You did. There we go. I tell you, K-pop changed the direction of this channel forever. Yes. It has altered the whole trajectory. It was crazy.
And really quick, I was just looking in the chat, just really quick before we close this out. Fiji93 said, because as I was scrolling through, George should put on Mr. Woodcock on in the background.
You should.
You know what? I tell you what. The next time we do it live, maybe not the whole entire movie, but maybe if I could find it on one of the streamings, I will put it on. Just
is it like appropriate? Like
it's appropriate. Yeah. Like I mean, like there's like certain things like you could tell what it is, but I mean, it doesn't show nothing like vulgar or anything like that. Yeah.
That's cool. Like look at me asking, like the way we talk.
Yes.
Oh, is it appropriate?
Yeah. Yes, it's like.
Family friendly, OG. Come on.
Yes.
You know.
Wait, and I think we're all a little guilty on that.
Oh yeah, we're super guilty on that. Thank you all so much for watching. Comment down below with all your thoughts on everything we talked about today. Again, we'll have another live show very, very soon. Thank you all very, very much for supporting OG55. Until next time, everybody.
세상은 누구에게나 공평하게 추악해.